Music has begun.
Usually there's a cameraman following me.
For the second season in a row, the Falcons take on the Caesars at Leicester Road Stadium here in Hinckley. This afternoon's game pits the two old rivals in this East Midlands derby.
21, Kieran Watts, and Kieran Watts skirts round Rob Hardwick. Great grab by Davidas, he's on his feet still, and he's still on his feet, and he turns and he's in for the score. Looking at Hardwick, and the ball is caught. It's number 18, Jack Burley. Take down to 7 1. That's another floated ball, and that's picked. That's going in, and that's Taylor.
Okay.
Pick 6.
Last season's game here in Leicester ended 33-7 in favour of the hometown Falcons.
This is actually picked up. That's a rookie mistake again, and that's going to end up. He's a long way down the field. Take that all the way. It is, and Burton scampers 70 yards. The hands off to Eves this time. Eves runs over. He is in for the score.
The return game back in Nottingham saw the Falcons do the double over the Caesars with a shutout of 35-0 in favour of the visitors.
He's going to waltz over the Brown. Pick 6. Easy score.
Leicester's first home game of the season last week saw them welcome the Coventry Jets, and they shut out them in impressive style. So 3 games into their season, the Leicester Falcons play host to the Nottingham Caesars. This is the only Nottingham's second game having been beaten by a single score away to Shropshire last week out. Leicester are currently 2-0 and welcome Nottingham for the first home game of the the first away game of the. I'll get that right in a minute. For the second home game of the Leicester Falcons season. I'm joined as ever by George Lees. Afternoon, George.
Afternoon.
On a very blustery day here in Hinckley.
It's not that cold, really.
You're togged up nicely. What can we expect this afternoon? Obviously, the Nottingham-Leicester rivalry is significant in the British League. The double last year, where Nottingham only managed 1 score in 2 games and were outscored by a score of 68-7. Does that have any bearing on today?
Yeah, I think it certainly does. I think you'll see some fire from both teams. I think the Falcons see this as a kind of a lesser game for them this year. The Steelers has become more of a rivalry game for them, but for the Caesars, certainly they'll be looking for blood.
So live action on its way here from this Division 1 matchup this afternoon here between the Nottingham Caesars and the Leicester Falcons. Even though it's a little cloudy around Hinckley, we should see some good action. Coach Cassar mentioned to us that he's got a number of players not here this afternoon for Leicester, but nevertheless, if you look on the sideline, they have a significant squad size.
Yeah, great squad size. Great to see.
So, as I was saying, live action on its way here from Hinckley shortly after this. Yes, so last time out, you can see the last time out that the Caesars and the Falcons played back here at Leicester. Kieran Watts took in the first score of the afternoon on a pass from Troy Lee Jackson. We then saw Davidas come into the game from Dan Watson, and you just seen Davidas there go into the end zone for the Caesars' only score of the afternoon, and from there, really, Leicester completely took over.
Yeah, I mean, that was Leicester's game to lose, really, as it was with both games.
Taylor Brown there with the pick 6 for the Leicester Falcons, which really rounded things off and put the nail in that coffin the last time these two teams met here at Hinckley. So we'll see what this new look Caesars offense looks like this afternoon, as a number of players have left the Nottingham outfits during the year. We've now got 2 quarterbacks really battling it out, with Ash and Simon Denning, a player who used to be with the season, has rejoined. After last year's starter, Dan Johnson has left to go to the Sheffield Giants.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year. Both QBs got time out at the Shropshire game. Neither QB really got the ball moving, and that will be a worry, but I'm sure they've worked hard to get where they are today, and hopefully they've fixed things on that offense.
So we'll see whether or not the New Look Caesars, in indeed their New Look kits, they've gone all burgundy this year, will be able to put any points up on the Leicester Falcons defence this year. And we'll be back with both head coaches who shared their thoughts about the game shortly after this.
Right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became alive as the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strolled without a care, cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get there with a smile on my face. Yeah, so lift me up, I'm moving on, singing and dancing while I play my song. Yeah, I'm having a good time, keeping it going. Come on, clap your hands and won't you sing along, and I'll take it up high.
Welcome back to the Leicester Road Stadium here in Hinckley. Nottingham versus Leicester is our matchup this afternoon. We managed to catch up with head coach Barry Bosley of the Nottingham Caesars earlier on today. Good afternoon, coach. How's things this afternoon?
I'm fine. How is yourself?
I'm all right. A bit chill, isn't it?
It's freezing.
Thanks for joining us before the game this afternoon. 2018 then, you've had one game in 2018. You're coming off the back of a loss against Shropshire. How do you turn things around following that opening season loss?
I think that first game for us was a pre-season. As you know, we had pre-seasons planned, but unfortunately we can't control other teams. So we didn't get that. So we're looking at the first couple of games to get that pre-season out. And we were unlucky last week. It's 6-0. Not a big score, and we should have done better.
Sum up, obviously 6-0. Your offence didn't get on the board, but your defence obviously did a job out there. Sum up the performance of that defence last week against Shropshire.
I think the whole defence. I think Mike Holden, who's coaching them now, took charge. He's done a fantastic job, and I think all the lads that have took charge, my senior guys, have stepped up. They've stepped up fantastic.
First away game of the season here at Leicester this afternoon in Hinckley. How comfortable are the Caesars away from home?
We're like every other team away from home. We'd rather be at home, but that doesn't always work. So we travel and we're prepared.
So Leicester, Nottingham, over the years have been some fierce battles, fierce rivalry game here. How do you contain the emotion coming into a game like this afternoon when there's been so much history between these two teams?
It's very difficult at times, but I'm learning. After 34 years, it doesn't get any easier.
The last time Leicester and Nottingham met last season, there were two fixtures and Leicester did the double over the Caesars. Does that play any part this afternoon, or is it a different season, different team? How do you approach this afternoon's game with what's gone on in the past?
Well, it's a total different season, isn't it? I mean, and we have to approach every game with the best intention of winning, and that's what we're going to be doing. So regardless of what other teams have done and what scores have gone before, we're here today to win, and like every game we take on the field, we want to win.
like you said, the change in teams and the change in personnel, particularly in the Caesars from what we know, but also in the Leicester team, make it a completely different matchup. How do you feel you match up today from what you've seen against Leicester in their 2 wins this year?
I think we're pretty good. Again, it's down to pre-seasons. We haven't had that. They have, So we're 2 games behind. So I don't worry about that. My lads on the field will do the job. And
your lineup tonight? Any changes from the Shropshire game, or is it pretty much as things were?
No, that's pretty much as it were. And also the coaches, they're doing the job themselves. I'm going to be the guy in the middle that anybody wants to go and shout at, they can do.
Well, thanks as always for your time, Coach, and we wish you all the best for the game this afternoon.
That's okay. Thank you. Oh, by the way, hi, Mr. Kersey. Love you lots.
Thanks, Coach. The ever watchable Barry Bosley there. So Barry, obviously the stalwart of the Caesars, looking forward to a new season. And you obviously head coach to the juniors there. How are things in Nottingham at the minute?
It's an interesting dynamic. There's been a lot of changes around in terms of players, not so much in terms of the coaching staff, but the players have very much changed around. We've seen some new faces, we've lost some old faces. It's just going to be intriguing to see what they do this year.
So results so far in the NFC 1 South Division look like this. Interesting results for Shropshire. Obviously, first time out, 6-0 against the Caesars, and then last weekend putting on a shed load of points against Doncaster.
It's hard to read into. The Mustangs obviously putting points on, so that'll be a worry for the Caesars, who couldn't move the ball against Shropshire. But then at the same time, Shropshire not scoring against the Caesars. So it's very difficult to read into that kind of situation.
One of the pre-season favourites, Sandwell, as well. Obviously lost to Leicester first time out. What's your impressions of what you've seen so far from them?
Well, Maxwell Petterjan is a good, talented head coach. They've really gone down that younger player route. They've got some very talented players. Tristan Varney's back, so it's nice to see him playing kitted football. Great talent. Callum Davidson's moved out to receiver. They've got it all going on. It was a close game against the Falcons, and from what I gather, it was almost by luck that the Falcons won. So that'll be close as well.
So as a result of those results, standings currently look like this in the division, with Leicester topping the table. Do you expect that to be the case throughout the season, or will Sandwell make a push?
I think Sandwell are going to be the only team that really challenge the Falcons. Are they both going to go 9-1? I'd anticipate the Falcons may well go unbeaten.
So we're all set here for the first of another double-header of Nottingham-Leicester games, the one in Nottingham coming up later in this season. It is very blowy here, as we've said, and the officials have just commenced the coin toss, and both teams look set to go. Interestingly, this afternoon the officials are under the spotlight a little bit. We have an assessor of the officials here this afternoon, so I'm sure what we'll see here from the officials is a very well called, hopefully well called game, as they always do on a Sunday.
Yeah, well, it's just nice to see that they're challenging officials to make sure things are going right.
So once again, in around about 3 or 4 minutes time, we will get kick off here from the Hinckley Road Stadium. Until then, this.
Right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became a loud as the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strolled without a care, 'cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get there with a smile on my face. Yeah, so lift me up, I'm moving on, singing and dancing while I play my song. Yeah, I'm having a good time, keeping it going. Come on, clap your hands and won't you sing along, and I'll take it up high.
So here we are, the game already underway as we made our way up to the commentary position here in Hinckley. Rob Hardwick took the opening kick-off for Nottingham and he returned it to his 25-yard line, and the Caesars their first play of their opening possession. Pass out wide to number 17, Charlie Patterson. Charlie, who left the Caesars and recently returned this year again. So a positive play in terms of the reception being made on first down, but not for a great deal of yardage.
No, but they've got the first completion of the game. Just settle those nerves on the short out route there.
So second down, Nottingham after a pickup of a yard. Got number 7, got Ash at quarterback there for the Caesars. Very much a 2 quarterback rotation at the minute with Ash and Simon Denning in for Nottingham.
Yeah, some would argue they need to allow a quarterback to settle, but they are doing what they're doing.
Ash looks, he's pressured and he tucks the ball and tries to take it up the middle, and he does get up the middle for positive yardage, but he's met by a swarm of Falcons.
Yeah, running into his own offensive lineman there.
So that'll bring up third down. Third down here in pretty swift time for that Nottingham offence.
I have to say, up here in the stands, it's dropped another couple of degrees. I think it's even I'm getting a chill on.
Should have bought me sleeping bag and see people walking around with coffee here. I may well be calling on one of our crew here on site to pop and get me a coffee shortly to keep us up to speed. Otherwise, my mouth might be seizing up, which for some people might not be a bad thing. Anyway, third down and 6 for Ash in the Caesars offence. Twins either side, one back behind him. You'd think it's a passing formation. The pressure comes. He swings it out to the left.
Yeah, looking for Brad Barkley there, the running back, swinging out of the backfield. Just a little bit of lead in front of him there.
So fourth down upcoming after the first 3 and out for Nottingham. What do you think of those new jerseys then? In fact, not those new jerseys, but the whole outfit gone away from the traditional golden bottoms now to the monocolour burgundy. Nicknamed the Burgundy Fire, I believe. Is that right?
I wasn't aware of that, and if I'm totally honest, this is the first time I've seen the new kit, and I don't know if I'm completely sold on it. Not that I'm a fashionista or anything.
No, I don't think the Caesars kit of old was overly pleasing to the eye, but that's a good kick. Good kick away there by the punter, number 81. That's Jack Winfield, who used to be one of your players.
He was. Seen him attempting to kick some field goals from around about the 60-yard mark. He has a boot on him, and he knows what he's doing back there. Talented receiver as well.
Great kick there, kicking from his own. Well, actually, where he took the ball, it would have been around about his own 20-yard line, and he's put it inside the Falcons' 20-yard line.
I think if the official hadn't have blocked that ball, I think he may have gone a little further.
First little bit for our official assessor to have a look at today, whether or not that official was in the right place or not. But nevertheless,
sometimes they just got to play ball.
Absolutely. Nevertheless, a 60-yard kick there for Jack Winfield, and the Leicester offence will take the field. My mistake, 50 yards. Obviously, we're only playing on a 90-yard field here this afternoon. So, the Leicester offence come up with quarterback Joe Brammer.
Yeah, taking over from Troy Lee Jackson last year. And he's had some. Well, he's been very, very good over the last couple of games and had the offence moving nicely.
And in the backfield with him, he's got number 24 Adam Gums and Marcus Francis, number 3.
That's Francis making the first carry. Around about 8 yards there.
So Marcus Francis was the first offensive play of the afternoon, and like you say, a pickup of maybe 4 where that ball's been spotted.
Difficult to see on this field with the blue lines on the green grass where it's gone out of bounds.
You were here last week, obviously, and with Grant Lawless commentating, and I remember you mentioning last week that those blue lines weren't overly easy to see.
They aren't the best, but you've got to do what you've got to do.
Jared Gabardon in motion as Gums takes the ball up a huge gap at the middle of the field, and he gets all the way out to midfield for a Leicester first down.
It looked like Caesars 45, Alex Armstrong making that hit there. Got to meet that player much sooner, can't just sit back there as a safety.
Adam Gums, big barreling back there.
Oceans of room for the big man there.
Pickup of maybe 25 yards there. So first down Leicester, just inside their own half on the 44-yard line, even though we're very close to that midfield 50-yard line. Gabardon in motion again. Brammer drops back. There's a rush coming from the outside, and Brammer escapes the rush to the right. He puts the ball downfield and he finds his man.
There is a flag in the backfield, and Brammer looks like he is very, very slow to get up.
He's finally on his feet though and walking up under his own steam, but he's signalling to the sideline. The catch. Let's see what the call is here. Looks like it's going against Leicester from the official signal initially, as the official has a word with number 31, defensive captain for Nottingham. That's Ashley Matthews. See if we can hear from our officials for the first time this afternoon.
Illegal motion against the offence. The man in motion went forward at the snap. Repeat, first down.
So that was Gabardon who was called for that.
It seemed like a very late flag. It almost looked like it was at the point of holding, but this was an issue for the Falcons last week. The discipline factor. They were moving 25 yards forward and moving 10 yards, 20, even 30 yards back through penalties.
Well, indeed, they tallied up 10 penalties last week for 102 yards. Out of interest, 8. That was on offence alone. 10 penalties, 102 yards. They had 22 penalties last week for over 200 yards. And when we caught up with Coach Gassar before the game, he did mention about the fact that if he could go the whole first quarter without a penalty, he'd be more than pleased.
That's one.
That shot that straight away on the third play from scrimmage for Leicester. Nevertheless, still a first down for Leicester. 1st and 15.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Wiping out that first attempt by Brammer. Twins to the left. Gums and Francis in the backfield, and this time Francis gets it off to the right hand side, and he bounces off one tackle and he makes it back to the original line of scrimmage where 3 or 4 Caesars meet him, led by Ashley Matthews, number 31.
Rob Hardwick, the cornerback, looked to be the first man that made contact.
Coming up from the safety position, or is Rob playing cornerback these days?
He's playing corner. He's still deemed fast enough to play there. That was a real power move for the Falcons in the second half of last week's game. Marcus Francis on those outside runs, including his second hurdle of the season.
And we mentioned again to Coach Gassar before about the chicken bet that they have going on here. Apparently every time as Gabardon goes in motion, every time Francis makes a hurdle, as Gums takes the ball up the middle there initially, every time Francis makes a hurdle, apparently Coach Gassar is due to buy him a chicken dinner, but because he owes him a couple already, Coach Gassar has altered that bet now. He has to make a hurdle, he has to not injure himself, and he has to score a touchdown in order to get that chicken dinner.
Fair enough. I was going to say, I don't know whether KFC or any other chicken providers can take on that much.
Well, there's a company apparently in Leicester that are currently in the hindsight, and other chicken companies are available.
Plucked being the Falcons.
Indeed. Third down.
Sponsor.
Third down. Brammer back to pass. He looks to his right, and then he's taken down by number 53 for Nottingham, and that's Joseph Selman with the first sack for the Caesars of the afternoon.
Yeah, Brammer just holding on to that ball, but I think he's shaking still from. And actually, it's coming off clutching his head, which is never a good sign.
Straight to the medic.
He came off last week as well for a little bit of time, and he just doesn't quite look right.
So, after one first down for Leicester, they will be forced to punt, and it's 4th and 14. So Nottingham will be pleased with that defensive series. As the kick goes up and the take goes with the wind, and it stays inbounds actually, and takes a nice Leicester roll, and it's downed at the 18-yard line by number 85 for Nottingham, Chris Peacock. Danny Burton with the kick for the Falcons. Again. So, Nottingham's second offensive series of the afternoon. Good punt by Burton, pinning them inside the 20-yard line. And I think with the swirling conditions here this afternoon, field position will be vital to both these sides. So 1st and 10, Caesars. on their own 18-yard line. Ash has trips to the short side of the field, and that's to his right. And the ball is handed off this time, and there's nothing doing there for Nottingham. Number 21 with the carry, Brad Barkley. Brings up second down indeed, lost 2 yards on that carry, did Brad Barkley.
So Caesars really need to find a way to get this ball moving. Even a first down here, I think, would do them some justice to get it moving against a strong defence like the Falcons.
So 2nd and 12 Nottingham. 2 receivers either side this time. Only 5 men on that offensive line. Man in the backfield as well as Barkley. As Ash drops back and the pressure comes, and Ash immediately rolls around to his right hand side and puts the ball near Robbie Jones, receiver, but that would never had a chance to be completed. And Ash looks a bit jittery in the pocket there at the minute.
There's a lot of pressure coming through. It's I don't want to say a makeshift O-lineman, because all those guys have played offensive line, but they have had a couple of guys step away, as we've mentioned already, 2 of those guys being offensive linemen.
Part of our sort of research this week, speaking to the Caesars personnel, they've had a lot of players leave, and I think it was something along the lines of 9 or 10 starters from last year actually up and left Nottingham for various reasons and gone elsewhere, which is bound to have an impact. As Ash drops back on 3rd down, he does stay in the pocket this time, and he's got a man down the middle of the field, but that's too long.
Overthrown, 5-7 yards ahead there.
Too long.
He had plenty of time in the pocket for that one.
Danny Johns, the intended receiver, and threw that ball nice tight spiral on that one, but Danny Johns just couldn't get to it, and there was space down the seam between the safeties on that one.
There was. It was certainly the right read, but John's just that ball was overthrown for him.
So another 3 and out for Nottingham, which will give a trio of returners the opportunity for Leicester to bring that ball back. Back waiting is Jared Gabardon. We've got number 44. Unfortunately, I don't have a number for currently. And also back there, Dom Olney.
I believe 44 is James Beckett.
And the ball is up, and it's a good kick again by Winfield, but held up in the wind, and they allow the ball to bounce, and it continues to bounce and takes another Nottingham bounce. Another great kick from Winfield, pinned inside, kicking from his own 10-yard line, and he's put Leicester back on their own 35-yard line.
Yeah, just caught the wind there as it went up and over, but great kick nonetheless.
So call that around about a 40-yard punt again for Winfield. And the Leicester offence go back to work. So yeah, James Beckett is number 44, who was back there on that return, and he was with the Nottingham Caesars last year and has made the transition over to Leicester. So let's see what Brammer and the Falcons offence can muster this time. 3 receivers for Brammer as Gabardon goes in motion again, over from left to right, and the ball is handed off to Gums, and Gums finds that same gap where he was successful in the first series, picks up 4 or 5 yards and will bring up 2nd and 6.
Yeah, Ashley Matthews and Andrew Thomas there with the tackle.
Gums already with 30 yards off 2 carries. And that's the difference right there straight away. You've been able to get a seam available for your running back. It's something Nottingham have really struggled with.
Yeah, he's not a small running back to make a seam for, but when you give him some space, he will use it.
And that's the difference. He's not having to make his own sort of gaps. Those gaps are big enough for him to get through. So 2nd down. This time it goes the other side to Francis, and Francis has Ashley Matthews draped all over him.
They have given him the first down there.
So 1st down Leicester. Keep this drive going on the ground at the moment. It was 61 for Leicester. Bradley Hunt checks out of the game, as does Tom Jarrett, number 17. Remember calling Tom's name quite a lot in the 2 games we did last year with Nottingham and Leicester. Seems to be hobbling off, favouring that left leg, lower leg that he may have just got.
Another key man they had last year was Verling, who is actually moved away from the club this year. and they don't seem to be missing him much.
No. So first down, Leicester. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Brammer drops back to pass. He looks left. He puts the ball up to the left, and he has a man, and it is caught, and a great reception. Number 11, Alex Priest.
Priest was Brammer's target man last week. He made a couple of nice grabs, and there he goes again.
Pick up of 30 yards.
Nice body control in the air as well.
30-yard completion, and you could see the Nottingham cornerback Sam Booth was ball watching, let Priest get behind him, and never really recovered. And Priest makes a nice solid catch to put the ball inside the Nottingham red zone for the first time today. And I know Kassar and Brammer will be eager to get points on the board on this possession.
Priest had a good couple yards there on his man.
1st and 10 at the Nottingham 16-yard line. Gabardon in motion again, left to right. This time high snap, but Brammer manages to get the ball to Gums, and Gums goes round the corner, and he's met by number 45 for Nottingham.
Alex Strong coming down there.
Alex Armstrong, yeah.
Although he's taken a bit of a knock, I think, to the head.
Well, he didn't appear that he made much attempt to wrap.
No, and I would very much think that they are going to now check him out under concussion protocol.
So
he very much led with his head there.
Very much, and didn't make any attempt really to get low, to wrap. It was a hit rather than a tackle. Pick up of 2 on the play for Gums.
He's a big man to try and wrap, but you've got to keep your head out of contact.
So as we take...
Not overly sure how deep the Caesars are at safety.
As we take an injury time out here, opportunity to ask you if you can get involved with the show here. Hashtag you can see on the screen is less versus not, L-E-I. I know you had a bit of a struggle last week pronouncing what L-E-I might say. It's not lie, it's sort of lay, isn't it?
It's a bit odd.
Versus Nottingham. Get involved with us, tell us where you're watching from, tell us if you're warmer than we are. You can't be any colder than we are sitting here. Be good to know who you're rooting for. If there's anybody out there that you, either friends, family, get in touch. So the game last week, the Leicester Coventry game last week, George, I watched from home. I was otherwise engaged, and you and Grant did a great job.
I was kind of pleased you were at home. I didn't have to sit with you for 3 hours.
But obviously the quality of the stream has increased since I've returned. But nevertheless, the 48-0 scoreline, did that flatter Leicester a little last week, or were they deserving of that?
I think attrition got the better of Coventry during the second half, certainly. But Coventry only had 1, 2, maybe first downs. Falcons' defense was very, very strong. The offense struggled in the first half. Once they got things clicking, they really got moving. So perhaps after their first half performance, 48-0 is a bit flattering, but once they got clicking, they are a 48-0 team. They're a good team to be going up against. 3
picks for the Falcons defense last week against the Coventry offense. 76 total tackles. Looking at the stats, 3 sacks as well, so pretty dominant, and there was a pick 6 in there as well, I believe, if I remember correctly.
There was, yep. Taylor Brown.
2nd and 8 as Gabardon gets the ball out in the flats on the right-hand side. He pushes Rob Hardwick away, and then Rob Hardwick goes underneath him, manages to push him out of bounds.
There is a flag on the plate. Let's see what that's for.
On this near side of the field. And you were mentioning in pre-game how you were looking at some of the offensive line, the way they were lining up.
Yeah, the left tackle for the Falcons, from what we saw pre-game, was often off the line. He was almost as far back as the slot receiver. So interesting to see if the officials have picked up on that.
Let's see. It's in that sort of region where that call could be made, but just waiting to see. There's a conversation going on with the referee and the Leicester team. Now, doesn't appear that anyone's marching any way backwards or forwards at the moment. Let's listen.
Offside against the defence. Penalty's been declined. First down.
So there you go.
Now you see that's a little odd. I wonder whether the defensive end's lining up where it should be in regards to the left tackle, but if the tackle's off, you can't see it particularly well in this angle, but had my offensive line coach actually down with us, but You can see how far back his back foot is in comparison to the line.
Gabardon in motion again for Brammer. Brammer with now 2 receivers on the right, and that looks like
Patterson there with his first score of the game.
Touchdown Leicester! Ashton Patterson. First touch of the game. Takes it 6 yards to pay dirt.
Patterson, multiple scorer last week, 2 scores on the ground. He'll be happy to get one more on his score sheet for the year.
And Coach Cassar and the entire Leicester outfit will be very pleased that they managed to turn that second possession into points, particularly after that long Priest completion, which really put pressure on that Nottingham defence. So Danny Burton on to try the extra point. Ball is down, kick is up, and that looks like a good kick from where we're sitting. Indeed it is. So the score is the Leicester Falcons 7, the Nottingham Caesars 0 here at Hinckley Road Stadium on this blustery end of April Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, we'll see if the Caesars can find something, dig deep, and get the first score of not just this game, but for their season so far.
So Leicester Falcons then, a bit of history while we're waiting for this next kick-off. Formed in 2006 for a nucleus of local players, hoping to share their enjoyment and knowledge of the sport. Local interest within Leicestershire and the popularity of flag football led to the team being called the Falcons as the best flag team in the county. Then were the Eagles, so the link was made between the Falcons and the Eagles. By 2007 the Falcons were awarded member status of the BAFL, and they played 2 seasons in Division 2 where they won promotion in 2009. 2 playoff appearances in the next 2 seasons saw the Falcons in the top flight, but the loss of seasoned players saw a need for the team to regroup and consolidate. Guy Kersey came in 2015 as general manager, and a new head coach Lester Hopewell, and a new home ground in Hinckley. And that saw the Falcons dig their talons into Division 2 as Burton kicks off, and that's a monster of a kick, and Hardwick lets it roll over his head and out of the back of the end zone for a touchback where Nottingham will then take over. In 2016 the Falcons won the Division 2 title, beating the Newcastle Vikings and securing promotion. And then last year in 2017 Division 1 they won the division with a 9-1 record, but the Falcons eventually lost in the semi-final to the eventual winners, Manchester Titans.
Yeah, and the Titans really stepped up in that game and knocked the Falcons out. But, as we know from last week, the Falcons were violated. I think is possibly the Titans were somewhat violated against by the Phoenix.
Well, when we did that promotion game last year, the finals game up in Leeds, and we saw how the Titans dismantled the Olympians, and we thought, yeah, they're in pretty good stead here to perform in the Premiership. But like you say, as Ash completes out to Robbie Jones for his first reception of the afternoon.
Yeah, Jones breaking 1 tackle there.
We thought at the time that the Titans were in good shape to really make a push in the Prem, but I know it's early days and it's the first one, but like you say, Tamworth did dismantle them.
Yeah, and then of course Tamworth were dismantled yesterday.
Denmark by Copenhagen. Might have seen that. There was a stream there from Copenhagen, and the Towers dismantled the Phoenix 50 points to 7 yesterday, which just shows the strength of football out on the continent. 2nd and 7 after a pickup of 3.
It's going to be, or should be, a penalty on the defence.
You would have thought that would be encroachment, unless they're going to deem the offensive line to have jumped. Let's see. So yeah.
Dead ball foul, offside against the defence, 2nd down.
Yeah, so Nottingham really now, with 2nd and 3, really need to convert this and put a first down on the board to try and wrestle some of that momentum back. But yeah, like we were saying, the strength of football out in Europe, 50 points to 7. We've watched Tamworth a couple of times over the last couple of seasons and been really impressed with how they've played. But a real wake-up call, not only for Tamworth, but I think for British football in general, as Ash looks
into no man's land.
Overthrows. I think the intended receiver there was Danny Johns, although
nearly as far out on the target as Ryanair.
Other airlines are available
that might get you to the place on time.
So, yeah, I'm not sure really. Ash to me does look jittery back there. Understandably, he's not going to have a lot of time in the pocket behind that offensive line, but I think he's got a little bit more than he actually deems he has. So 3rd and a long 2, particularly with how Nottingham are ineffective with running the football at the moment. He's got 3 receivers up to his left. He's got 1 to the short side right. Looks like Winfield down here. Looking to try and make them jump, and the ball is handed off and met immediately. Number 72 for Leicester with a fantastic tackle. Josh Newbold penetrates that offensive line like a hot knife through butter, really, and it brings up 4th down. Very disappointing for the Caesars.
Yeah, number 21, Brad Barkley, just getting stopped, let's just say immediately in that backfield.
So let's see if Winfield can dig the Caesars out again. And the way that the wind appears to be blowing, it is blowing in his favour at the moment from left to right as you look on the screen.
Either way, it's blowing cold.
Hey, not getting any warmer, you're definitely right. Gabidon and Olney back to return. Great kick again. Goes over Olney's head and takes a bounce. Nottingham bounce, and Olney looks to try and pick it up, thinks twice about it, and is down by Andrew Wilkins. Inside the 15, actually possibly down at the 10-yard line, where Leicester will take over again. And that's another 50, 60-yard punt again for Winfield.
I mean, he was always good at kicking off.
Kicking off? Well, he's definitely got a mouth on him, we know that.
But no, I mean, he's 19 years, 19, 20.
Yeah.
Might be 21 now, but he could punt.
And it's not. What we've mentioned already about the strength of the Nottingham team is more than likely their defence.
Yeah.
So it really helps the defence,
Yeah.
and particularly if you've got a special teams player, as much as it is a punter, if you've got a punter who's getting your offence out of trouble, it gives your team a chance. And again, if the defence can hold here, the Nottingham defence, it switches the field and puts Nottingham in possibly better field position.
Possession game.
So, Leicester again, Brammer hands off, and we mentioned about the Nottingham defence, but that's Francis, and Francis is still on his feet, out to the 40, over the 50, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 40-yard line, with Hardwick trailing behind him amongst others. There is a flag down though, back on the 10-yard line, so this one could be coming back.
It looked like Mark Martin was playing safety there, who made the diving attempt to the tackle with not much success.
And that is indeed coming back, so that's a shame. That's a real shame for Marcus Francis, who showed good speed, patience getting through the hole, and an explosive power to go through that secondary and pick up that yardage. But that is coming back.
He's a very big running back. You look at him next to
Holding, number 60 on the offence, repeat 1st down.
You look at him next to Gums, and he doesn't look overly big, but when you see him down in the field, he is a fair size.
Dan Charlton called for the hold.
So, Falcons, 1st down and about 14, 15 string out of there.
So after that hold, as I mentioned, Coach Kassar will be very, very upset about that, because discipline is the one area that he preached he wanted improving today. So Brammer again, hands off, and this time it's Gums, and Gums has got that same run, and he's into the secondary, and he's through and round and pushed out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Pickup of 30 yards again for Gums, and they found a formula that works without a shadow of a doubt. 4 carries for Gums. He's close on 80 yards on those 4 carries already, and Nottingham have to find a way on that interior defensive line to stop that particular play. Worrying times for the Caesars. Coach Kassar mentioned about the Nottingham defence before the game, and the fact that he was very confident that the system that the Falcons offence was running would be effective, and so far that has proved correct as Gabidon comes in motion and Francis takes the ball off to the right side this time. Met by Wilkins and a number of other Caesars on the tackle. Picks up 2 for Francis. And it's this sort of pounding offence which will grind down that Caesars defence, not only physically but also from a psychological standpoint. particularly when the Nottingham offence is not showing any real signs of life or of moving the ball. Apart from the penalties, Leicester looking a little bit more effective and dangerous than they did last week against Coventry. As Gabardon comes in motion again, you've got to think this could be going to, and it is Francis with that same play to the right. In fact, it's not, it's fake to Francis, and running back Ogundana picks the ball up, and he's out of bounds at the 30-yard line after a pickup of 25. So, a three-headed attack of Gumby, Francis, and now Ogundana getting into the action on a 25-yard pickup and a first down for the Falcons.
Yeah, they've got some talented running backs back there. We've already seen Patterson, 1 touch, 1 score. I'll see if they can carry on moving like they are.
But like I say, that's Coach Cassar pointed out about the Nottingham 3-5 front that he observed on tape, running a 3-4 formation at the moment with the 2 safeties and 2 corners, and again this time it's off to the right hand side to Francis. Initial tackle made by Wilkins with an accompanying assist from Mark Robinson.
The issue, we've got a player down at the moment, but the issue playing that 3-4 front is if you don't have a big nose tackle to fill those gaps, it's not that effective, and either that or you've got to have some very, very quick outside linebackers.
So we hope it looks like one of the Leicester offensive linemen that's currently on the floor, and you know it's going to be a lower leg injury when one of those big guys goes down, and indeed it looks like they're tending to the knee. So once again, love for you to get in touch with us here this afternoon at Onside Productions, here for our 2018 campaign. All the Leicester Falcons home games being broadcast with Onside TV, Onside Productions rather, this year. We're also branching out with other ventures around the Britball community as well. We'll be broadcasting the Nottingham Caesars home games this year again.
Nottingham Varsity
on the 9th of May. Nottingham Trent University versus the University of Nottingham. That's on the 9th of May, Wednesday the 9th of May.
The University of Nottingham currently leading in their varsity series. They won the ice hockey on Friday night.
You were down there, were you?
I was, yep.
Enjoy that?
Oh, it was great fun. It was not a child-friendly atmosphere.
Was it not?
No. But no, 4-2 was the score there.
So, our injured lineman is back on his feet, but he's not unfortunately managing to get off under his own steam. Looks like number 60 we mentioned
Dan Charlton.
And that was Dan Charlton, who unfortunately was responsible for that hold penalty on Francis' long run. We wish him all the best, but not able to put any weight on that left leg currently.
Yeah, never a good sign at all. Usually a ligament in that situation.
We wish Dan Charlton all the very best, and hope he gets back as soon as possible. But that looks like it could be a long one, unfortunately. So a little bit more about Leicester. We asked the club what they were most proud of, and 2016 the Falcons achieved the ultimate, going undefeated, scoring 434 points and only conceding 21 during the regular season. Sailed through the playoffs, scoring 154 and conceding only 29 in postseason play, and defeated the Newcastle Vikings in the final to take the crown and cap that perfect 2016 season. And they continue to build and will be very, very eager to make that jump into the Prem after this 2018 season. So 2nd and 8, Gabardon in motion again. Ball is faked to the left and it's given to Francis again. And Francis picks up 3 more yards on the carry.
Yeah, well wrapped up there. It looked like Andrew Wilkins on the tackle.
So, 3rd and 5. A real important stop here for Nottingham if they want to maintain. And I'll be perfectly honest with the way that Nottingham have been playing and the way historically they play. They're never a team that can come from behind, and particularly from a large margin. So a stop here is vital. Brammer again fakes to the left, and this time it's given him. Ogundana steps, and he steps around the safety, and he's in for the 2nd Leicester touchdown of the afternoon.
Yeah, virtually untouched there, and that handoff by Brammer is very, very good. We saw this last week. They've got a couple of quarterbacks, and Brummer's looked a little bit slow. He looks like he's worked on it this week, and it's really, really working out for him.
So Coach Kassar will be very, very pleased. So currently 13-0 in favour of the hometown Falcons. That running play that they're running so effectively. Do you remember Thunder and Lightning, Coach?
Well, let's not go into...
high snap, Burton does well to get under that. In fact, the holder, Tom Jarrett, does very well to get that snap down and in a position for Burton to kick it. But that is Danny Burton's second conversion of the afternoon.
Let's not reminisce about unsuccessful seasons.
It doesn't matter about the season, it's about the philosophy and that play. It's nice to see that. I mean, it's deception.
It is.
You know, you've got that pro formation with the split backs there, and you fake one way, give the ball the other way, and it's going to keep the defence guessing, even if it's just one or two pairs of eyes.
Well, if he takes one eye off the ball, it's always going to create a little bit of space.
It gets a bit silly though when we go from Thunder. Do you remember Storm? That was a play-action pass, fake Thunder, fake Lightning. Here to Magic Man Ben Potter.
Oh dear.
Shout out Ben Potter if you're out there watching. So anyway, back to this one. Leicester really, really in the driving seat now with a 14-point lead. The wind seems to have picked up even more, and Burton will look to kick again. Robbie Jones and Rob Hardwick are the deepest men for Nottingham. And Burton with that little stutter run up gets his foot right through the ball and it heads Hardwick's way, and he fields it at his own goal line, which is very brave. And he takes it to his 10, he's out to the 12, he's still on his feet at the 15, where he is actually brought down just about the 14-yard line.
Yeah, it's a brave call, but it did look like it was going to be a backwards bounce. Not great starting field position for the Caesars.
Got to get that running game going. Bottom line, they've got to get that running game going.
It's something they've struggled on over the last couple of years to move, whether it's offensive line problems or running back problems, I'm not quite sure, but if they can get that ground game moving.
My still on his feet count, I think you'll find a producer down there.
I think it's 3 or 4.
I've had 2 at least, 2 or 3 at least if you watch the take back. But thanks for listening to me. If my own producers aren't listening to me, what hope have I got from anybody watching? Anyway, first down Nottingham. 2 receivers either side for Ash, and he looks to pass, and he's going to the air, and he's got a man, he's going over the top, and he's got, just out of Johns' reach, number 87.
He had Robbie Jones and on the underneath route wide open as well.
Better ball that time though from Ash, and he stood in the pocket very well, and indeed got knocked down.
He has got time in that pocket.
So there we go, I think that is a correct count. Thank you ever so much producer Tom, or producer Steve, director Steve, I don't ever know what to call him. We just call him Steve and Tom.
Well, we call him, we don't always call him that though, do we?
Well, we do when we're on the microphone.
Mr. Matthews.
Oh, sir. So 2nd and 10 for Nottingham. May give Ash a little bit of hope, the fact that he did have longer in the pocket there, and the ball is flicked out this time, and it is Robbie Jones, and Robbie Jones picks up a first down.
There you go, short and sweet.
3rd completion of the afternoon for Ash. Robbie Jones, another former player of yours. 2nd reception for Robbie, pick up of 15 on the play. Nice little quick, almost a little bubble screen there.
Well, it works. There's, I think, a lot of teams in British American football very much try and throw those deep routes, and it doesn't really get things moving. You see the likes of Tamworth and some of the London teams play those shorter routes, and that's where their offensive is effective within that 20-yard radius of the quarterback.
Ash hands the ball off this time on first down. There's nowhere at all really there for Corey Lawrence that time, number 26 for Nottingham.
Corey Lawrence in his 2nd year for the Caesars, played middle linebacker for the junior team last year.
And going back to that previous play from Robbie Jones, when you've got people like that where you get the ball in their hands and they can make things happen, you don't need to get it to him 20-30 yards down the field. Just put it in his hands a yard down from the line of scrimmage and see what you can do. And obviously there he picked up good yardage and Nottingham's first down of the afternoon, I think.
Yeah, nice to get that ball moving for them. Just got to capitalise it.
So receivers for Nottingham on the field at the moment. Charlie Patterson at the top of your screen. We've got Danny Johns at the bottom here alongside Robbie Jones in the slot.
That looks like they've called quartet.
And Kyle Pearson is the fourth receiver. So basically, as George rightly states, that is the end of period 1 here in Hinckley. With your score, the hometown Leicester Falcons 14 and the visiting Nottingham Caesars 0.
So see if they can move this this ball and get another first down.
Shout out while we've got this break and play to all our crew here this afternoon in Hinckley. The inimitable Mr. Matthews and Mr. Howe running the show in the tent. And it is literally a tent, or is it a marquee?
I don't know, but it's warm in there.
We've got our cameraman this afternoon, the ever ready Mr. Alex.
Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Campbell. And we've got a guest camera operator this afternoon who is getting our sideline shots. Somebody you know well, Sean Endicott. Give us a wave, Sean. Hey! Doing a great job down there. We've got Jimmy Smith alongside running the clock and down markers and generally giving useful bits of Britball information in our ears. And then
Nathan's around.
Nathan's around as well. What's Nathan up to this afternoon?
I don't know. Doing what he does best.
What's that?
Not a lot.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. He'll be helping out in the tent and doing the tech stuff.
It's great though, because I mean these guys. We as games go by, we're getting this machine a little more finely tuned every time, and trying to bring the best coverage we can. I know we watched the Copenhagen Tamworth game yesterday, and
I was going to make a joke about oil then, but I'll not.
And yes, even though anyway, I won't go too far into that just for any reasons that might get me into trouble. But nevertheless, we're trying to bring you the best advert we can for not only the Leicester Falcons but Britball in general whenever we cover any games. So here we go then, the start of the second period. 14-0 Leicester with the advantage. And Ash has got a free play this time, and on a free play he's got a man down the middle of the field, and he's going to overthrow him.
And he was looking for Charlie Patterson there.
And Charlie Patterson, an experienced receiver who you would have put money on bringing that one in.
Yeah, just almost looked to go all crocodile.
Good awareness by the Caesars offensive line, and Ash in particular, though, realising that's going to be a defensive penalty and carrying on with the play.
It is very, very chilly up here.
So
offside against the defence. Replay, second down.
So indeed, second down, and after the initial, it should be second down and 5, obviously. Indeed, it'll be 2nd and 6 because that first play at the end of the first quarter resulted in a 1-yard loss when Corey Lawrence attempted to run the ball. So 2nd and 6, Nottingham. Ash with the same formation, 2 receivers either side, 1 running back alongside him. Ash drops back again, and he looks, and he's got, and that's a brilliant, fantastic long arm interception by number 14, Alex James. And Alex James is up to the 40, at the 50, he's at the 40 and the 35 before he's pushed out of bounds. And there is a flag, and that is going to be an illegal block.
I would say a block in the back on
But
the Caesars offensive lineman.
What a fantastic grab by Alex James. Alex James turned receiver there rather than cornerback.
And this is what I was saying earlier about quarterbacks going deep. He actually had Corey Lawrence open in the backfield on the swing. And it looks like it may be Tom Harvey now.
It was Tom Harvey. I saw Tom Harvey get up and run off the field. It was definitely Tom Harvey, but he seemed to shake it off, whatever it was, and run off the field pretty quickly, actually. And so thankfully he appears to be all right, but that is definitely going to be, I think, a penalty against Leicester. But it did come after the interception, so the Falcons will maintain possession of the ball. But I say, Alex James, here we go, let's listen to the official.
Okay. Personal foul by 95 wide during the run back after the penalty enforcement. First down.
So as I was saying, I don't know whether we can see that replay or not, but Alex James, the ball was really, really overthrown by Ash, whether the wind caught hold of it or not as well. But nevertheless, Alex James ran back towards the own goal line, extended his hands and made a fantastic interception. And a great run back as well, only tempered by that penalty. So first down Leicester, their first possession of the second half.
Falcons lining up in that split back formation again. It's been effective for them so far.
First down, Brammer has got time. Brammer goes over the top, looking to the outside, and Gavidon makes a fantastic grab. Going down low to the ground, and that is complete. Jimmy alongside me is waving it incomplete, and indeed now two officials equally waved the ball off as well.
To be honest, I agree with the first official. I think he grabbed that.
I think he got his hands under it. We've got a pretty good view from where we are here, and that's the argument that he's having. The sideline official is looking to try and overturn the opinion of the two other judges. And as I mentioned, this is an interesting one for the assessor, the Bafa officials assessor in the stands, is how they...
Yeah, absolutely, and a little bit of words between Brammer and the whole Caesars defence there.
So let's see what the result of this play will be. If it is good, it'll be a pickup of 20, maybe 18. Brammer comes to the sideline to get his next instructions off his offensive coordinator.
I think the initial call from the official down on this side was right. It bobbled, but I think it bobbled off his hand.
Simon Juniper, offensive coordinator for the Falcons, and it does look like that side official is going to win this battle, much to the dismay of Bash and the Caesars defence, and it is.
I mean, it's always difficult to tell. It's always difficult to tell, particularly for these officials. They don't have the same equipment as the pros do, but I think that could have gone either way, but I think he's got it right.
So first down Leicester after that big completion to Gavidon.
Yeah, Gavidon was he got nice separation on his break towards the sideline.
Brammer attempts to look for Gavidon again to the left, but that ball comes out of his hand a little late, and Gavidon really didn't have a chance to pull that one in as it flew down to his bootlaces. So it brings up 2nd and 10.
You'd have done well to pull two in from the ground.
So 2nd down Leicester, here on this blustery afternoon in the heart of England. Brammer with two receivers to his left, Francis and Gums behind him, that effective backfield partnership. And this time Gums gets the ball off left tackle, and Gums is brought down by Ashley Matthews and Andrew Wilkins. Picks up 4 or 5 though, and it never looks like he's actually getting that far, but he's being effective.
Yeah, he is a big man to try and bring down, try and get an arm round as well, and I think that's where teams have struggled with him. But it's working for them, and they're going to keep utilising him.
3rd and a long 6. I've said this before, but another massive 3rd down here for the Nottingham defence. Your money would be on Leicester to convert this, with the way that this first half has gone, as Gavidon comes in motion. Brammer gives again to Gums, and this time, there's an attempted trip, and Gums is round the left end, and he's got a first down yard, and he's swung out of bounds at the 15 after a pickup of 11.
Managed to get off tackle there and pick up those yards. Falcons just keep rolling forward.
Gums approaching 100 yards on the ground before half-time. 6 rushes, 89 yards as Gums comes off for a breather.
That's quick maths.
Not just a pretty face.
No, you're a PE teacher.
I resemble that comment. 1st and 10 inside the Nottingham 20-yard line. Brammer drops back, nice 5-step drop. He's got pressure, and he's got pressure from Wilkins, and Wilkins The ball is released, and are they going to call that incomplete, or is that a fumble out of bounds?
I think they're going to call that incomplete. But this is an issue Bremer had last week. He's a little slow on his release. When he gets it off nicely, but he is a little slow on his release, and it doesn't do justice for us offensive line who do offer him a huge amount of time, really, in comparison to a lot of quarterbacks around the league.
Good outside pressure there, though, from the Caesars defense. They'll be pleased with that. Question in the booth whether or not that pass then, due to the fact it not reaching the original line of scrimmage, whether it could be classed as grounding, intentional grounding. But the officials don't seem interested by that. It'll still be second and 10.
It's a difficult decision to make as he fumbled it, as he tried to get it away. Is it grounding? It's
the way the officials responded, though, they waved it off as an incomplete pass. So anyway, second and 10. Brammer, Gabardon in motion once more. And this time the ball is to the left with Harris, and Ashley Matthews makes the tackle after a pickup of 2. Sorry, not Harris. Marcus Francis. I think I've said Harris a couple of times now. Apologies. Marcus Francis with the carry, number 3.
Patterson coming out of the action there.
Once again, a pickup of 2, and 3rd and 8 this time, the longest third down that the Falcons have faced for some time.
I wouldn't be surprised if they run it again with that backfield, although he's come out in a shotgun style formation this time.
Convention would say that 3rd and long you would be passing, but like you say, it's a high snap, he might not get the chance, but he fields it very well, and he looks to the end zone and he's got a man. Oh, that's a great defensive play. Fantastic defensive play. Brammer did very well to get the original snap, to field the original snap, find his man, get his eyes downfield, and then almost hit Rob Lambert, number 87. And Rob Lambert did have that ball for a minute.
It looked like Sam Kinley that actually made the hit there, 28.
And to be fair, that hit was a vital hit, because that ball would have been completed. Brammer did very well there to field that snap, concentrate, get his eyes downfield, and find that receiver who was for a split second open and did have possession of that ball for a fraction of a second until the hit came in.
Brammer had so much time even after the high snap. He even dropped the ball away from his chest. He was calm as a cucumber.
So this is a killer here really for Nottingham. If Nottingham concede here on 4th down, whether it's a first down or a touchdown, they will feel very hard done. They've got time. They've got lots of time. The ball is for Gabardon, and Gabardon eludes one tackle. He's still on his feet. Turns around the corner, dives for the pylon, and he is marked out of bounds on the 2-yard line. What a fantastic athletic.
And actually, I think he's got away with one there. If he had been called to go in, they'd have called him for a fumble anyway.
So yes, it did appear that he would have fumbled that through the end zone.
So not scoring on that play has actually been a benefit for him.
Nevertheless, it's 1st and goal on the 1 for Leicester.
Wonderful catching contact that time as well.
You would expect, with 4 chances from a yard out, Leicester to extend their lead here.
Gums or Francis?
My money's on Gums. You going Francis?
Well, I have to now, don't I?
You do have to. Gums or Francis for chicken?
I don't know. Could be.
Oh, it's a pass, so we're both wrong. So we're buying Jimmy Chicken, and Gabardon is the reception. Beautifully done. Brammer to Gabardon. 1 yard for the 3rd Leicester score of the afternoon.
A little surprising pass with 2 power backs in the backfield that have run well all day, but fair play to them. Brammer and Gabardon completing that touchdown pass, and that is Gabardon's 4th grab.
That's Gabardon's 3rd grab of the afternoon. He's takes him to 20 yards and a touchdown. 1 rush for 25 yards for Gabardon as well.
Yeah, great connection.
So there's Leicester offense rolling now, and indeed going for 2, even though they've been successful on the previous 2 extra points with their kicker Danny Burton. They elect to go for 2 here just to drive another nail in this Caesar's coffin as Brammer drops back again. He faces pressure this time, throws the ball out to his left, and that's just a tad wide of his intended receiver, Alex Priest. So the score remains Leicester 20 and the Nottingham Caesars 0.
Yeah, Caesars will be getting worried now. Obviously their defence has been their pride really over the last couple of years, and for them to be 20 points down at this stage, it's going to start eating away.
So a little bit of history about the Caesars while we've got this next break in play. Been around, one of the oldest clubs in the league, over 30 years old, the Nottingham outfit, and in all that time been owned and run by Barry Bosley, who's here today, but in less of a coaching capacity these days, more of an ownership capacity.
I'm sure he'll be causing trouble for somebody.
I'm sure he will somewhere down there. Vanden Warner, current head coach of the Caesars, who's been in his second season in that position. Club's had 3 divisional titles and one have been the runner-up in the Brit Bowl once in its history. Reasonable seasons of late, making the playoffs in 2016, narrowly missing out last year despite fielding a 7-3 record, and the hopes were high last year. We mentioned already there's been a bit of an exodus from the club, from people going to try and further their careers up in the Prem and other various reasons. But most proud of the fact that the club has developed numerous players who have gone on to play the sport internationally, various universities around the country, and obviously George and I have been involved with that as well, with our capacity as junior head coaches, as well as little bits of input on the senior stage, as Robbie Jones brings that ball back with a nice return out to about the 30-yard line. I can't go through a broadcast without mentioning...
Oh, if you mention that.
Okay, I won't. I've never seen you look at me with such disdain. He was in action yesterday in Europe.
Lost that game, didn't he?
I don't think he lost that game. I think
it was all down to him.
It was all his fault, was it?
We shall not mention that name.
He who shall not be named. Anyway, but yes, last year's MVPs. Dan Johnson, no longer with the club. Robbie Jones, who we've mentioned a couple of times today. Darren Chown, offensive lineman. Jason Robinson, running back. Mike Thompson, D-line. Ashley Matthews, linebacker. And Mickey Fisher, DB, who's no longer with the club. As Ash drops back and passes and overthrows Robbie Jones.
A flag on the play there as well. See what the officials call for this one.
Ash at the minute, 3 out of 8 passes for a total of 18 yards. Not the best numbers in the world.
Offside on the defence. It'll be first down.
So still first down Nottingham at 1st and 5 now, rather than 1st and 10. Again, that indiscipline really that Coach Cassar won't be fond of.
Yeah, I mean, whilst an offside penalty is indiscipline, it shows the aggression of a player, I think. And once in a blue moon, as a defensive player, I wouldn't be too disappointed in that sort of situation.
For the first time this afternoon, sorry to interrupt you, the running game picks up some yardage, and that's Brad Barkley with the carry. Picks up close to a first down, going to be 2nd and 2.
Yeah, nice to see. A nice big hole for him as well.
So as the game goes on, and particularly if the score continues in this vein, we like to end up talking about other things. Those NFL fans amongst you, it's been the draft weekend.
It has been the draft weekend.
I have a little bit of a mention about some of the stories coming out of the draft. Big story with Shaquem Griffin coming out of University of Central Florida and making his way out to the Pacific, as Ash keeps the ball, looking to try and get enough yardage for a first down. And will they be spotting that? Over that they are. The signal from the official is that it is a first down.
Yeah, I think Griffin, what a storyline for that young man. It's incredible what he's achieved.
And the storyline doubling up with the fact he's joined the Seahawks there with his brother as well. Our first tweet of the afternoon. I like the Caesars' new uniforms. Thank you for Counter Tenor 1. is Sosa Lily wrapped up in bed watching at We Are Onside and wishing the Falcons the best of luck.
I'll be honest, if we were wrapped up in bed commentating, that would be...
Hang on a minute.
Obviously not with you.
Oh, as Ash tries to hit Charlie Patterson, and Ash holds his head as Patterson puts that ball down.
Yeah, it's the second one that Patterson's dropped today. Yeah, obviously, just going back to that. Not with you. Just,
no, please clarify that.
Just somewhere warm.
Absolutely. I've made a plea on our communication system down to our director to get us a coffee, and it's been ignored at the moment, George. They're all wrapped up nice in their production booth down.
Can we strike well on air?
Can we what, sorry?
Can we strike well on air?
Can we strike? I don't think we get... nearly another offside penalty, but in fact I think that's what's going to be called.
I don't know, it looked like the offensive line.
Was he drawn?
I think they'll give this against the offence.
So, second and long. This is the conversation they're having. Obviously the Caesars offence is being pointed to that they did move, but...
I think the defensive player managed to pull back just before he crossed the neutral zone.
Let's have a listen.
Dead ball, offside against the defence, second down.
Bow to my better judgment once again, Mr. Lees.
I'm not convinced that was the right call.
Why? Because it wasn't the call you made?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. So, another penalty helps the Caesars offence. Close to midfield, the best field position of the afternoon, 2nd and 6. You really feel they need a score here to make this one even vaguely competitive going into the second half?
Yeah, they really do. And look to pass. He's got Patterson, and that is a third time the football has been through his hand.
And that did go through his hands, yeah, absolutely. As the temperature continues to plummet.
See if they can pick it up. 5 more yards to go.
Yeah, Jimmy alongside us rightly said it's May on Tuesday. Feels like we're about approaching December again. Michael Bell, 1991. Oh, I missed that one. Flash that back up again for us, producers. Michael Bell, 1991. Watching from home. I was the guy getting stretched off last weekend. Super excited for Nottingham coming to us next week.
Hopefully you're on the mend.
Nice to know you're watching, Michael. 3rd and 6 for Ash in the offence. He's got time again, and he still has time. And aiming for Winfield.
And again, he had the running back wide open on the swing.
He did.
Just check it down. Let you guys do the work.
And where he threw that ball, Winfield was blanketed. So it'll bring up 4th down again. And Tom Jarrett, the dangerous return man, alongside Dom Olney, back for the Falcons. Interestingly, somebody that we talked about a lot both last weekend but also in some of our other games in the Brit Bowl. No Taylor Brown today for Leicester?
No. He has work, I'm led to believe.
That's a beautiful kick, by the way, but it's fielded very nicely by Jarrett, and Jarrett is wrapped up at his 20-yard line.
Kyron Watts also not here today.
Coming off surgery, I believe. Another 2 weeks out, we think, before Kyron returns to the Leicester lineup. So the starting safeties this afternoon for Leicester are Bill Hefford and Dom Olney. So far, not really being troubled by that Nottingham offence. Again, a lovely high kick there from Jack Winfield, his 4th punt of the afternoon.
Plenty of time for his return team to, or his kick team to get underneath that.
Another good 40-yard effort there again. 40-yard effort inside the 10-yard line, and here come that Falcons offence once again, and you can see them driving this ball down and getting another score before the half is ended, as Gabardon comes in that familiar motion which has served them so well, and there's that deception with Gums to the left side.
That was shut down much quicker by the Caesars defence that time. I think they've started to adjust and maybe made some adjustments on the sideline.
But they still picks up 3 yards on that carry. You know, I mean, in all honesty, that's really all you need to do. 3-4 yards of carry, and you're picking up that first down.
Yep.
Leicester not really doing anything different than they did right from the start of the first period.
Gotta get that pad low and drive up and through, push him backwards. Don't let him fall forwards.
And there's this time it's Gums once again, and that is shut down. Ashley Matthews and Andrew Wilkins, two of the stalwart Nottingham defenders, but once again 2-yard pickup. Still being ignored in the booth, George. I can barely feel my hands right now. My lips are turning blue.
I think you might be early signs of a heart attack. I'm not quite.
It's okay. I've recently been checked. I've been to my GP and had my annual health check, and I'm all good to go.
The old MOT.
The old MOT. This motor's going to be going for a good while yet. As Brammer drops back, looks right, looks left, looks over a man over the sea, and it's picked off this time. And it's picked off and running sideways. Number 25, Sebastian Paris, picked the ball off and then ran sideways all the way to the Leicester bench.
I'm not entirely sure what went on there, but Coach Gums is absolutely fuming. He's out with an injury, and I've just seen his crutches fly towards a Caesars player.
So yeah, we're told it appears that Paris, as he was running out of bounds, flipped the ball towards a Leicester player. Not on purpose, just flipped the ball out there, but it's caught somebody, and Coach Gums, as you said, George, took exception to that.
It caught Coach Gums, who is in crutches, to his defence.
Yeah, absolutely, but strange decision from Paris. Not only going great pick, good concentration on the pick, but then must have run 30 yards laterally towards the Leicester bench.
I think you may well see a penalty on Coach Gums in a second.
Let's see what happens. But first turnover of the afternoon, going the way of Nottingham.
See what the officials say.
Dead ball foul after the interception on sportsmanlike conduct against 25 on the red team. Okay, so first down red after the enforcement.
So yes,
not entirely sure that was the right call, but that seems a little odd.
Yeah, we're wondering whether or not there should be some sort of call against the Leicester bench there. Could have been that the Nottingham player threw the ball towards the referee dropped the ball, and that's why it hit the Leicester player. Anyway,
something happened, we haven't got it on replay. Let's move on.
Coach Gums still down the sideline, furious, having to be held back by some of the Leicester coaching staff. I mean, begs the question as well, if you are on crutches, so should you be that close to the action?
He is the defensive coordinator.
Oh, well, fair enough. Yep, absolutely fair enough. But nevertheless, interesting call again for the assessor of the referees to be watching. See what he makes of that post-game in his report to the league. Anyway, nevertheless, first turnover, as I mentioned, of the game. Nottingham take over inside their own territory on their 34-yard line. Please keep getting involved with the show here. Your input's always welcome. Hashtag let versus not.
I wonder if you're going to see a heavy blitz coming in towards the quarterback.
I mentioned in our interviews, and he did that. Looking for Patterson again, and that time he did seem to check down.
Yeah, James Beckett there with the pressure.
Former Caesar there. And again, Ash does have time, but that ball was behind Patterson that time. Yeah, I mentioned in the pre-game to both coaches about the fact that this fixture is always highly emotionally charged. Even though a lot of the players won't have been around in the early days of of this rivalry.
2006 is a long time ago.
It is indeed, 12 years ago. That's quick maths as well, wasn't it? Nevertheless, 2nd and 10, Nottingham. Need to get something going to keep this one competitive as the rush comes up the middle this time, and Ash has to roll round to his right, and he's chased, his eyes are downfield, and he's dragged down a great open field tackle by number, is that 88?
It will be Fredericks of the Falcons, playing tight end and linebacker.
So, great pursuit there by the twin roll man for Leicester, tight end and D end. Ash could not escape that grasp. We'll bring up 3rd down and 15. Let's see if the Caesars offense can put anything together here. 2 receivers either side again with Winfield down this near side. And there's another encroachment penalty. So we've got another free play. And that ball is thrown. So, almost intercepted.
And that again was really into no man's land. John's having to drift nearly 10 yards across the field to go even get close to that ball.
I know we mentioned about trying to get some consistency at quarterback.
Offside against the defence, 3rd down.
Simon Denning is an experienced player who's currently on the bench for Nottingham, and with the Caesars having not had any pre-season games, as Coach Bosley said at the beginning of the show, last time out against Shropshire was really the pre-season game, and they're still trying to find out where their best lineup is. So 3rd and 11 after the penalty. No big rush this time, but there is now. And Ash goes down.
And a monster hit from behind.
And Ash is absolutely squashed, and Fredericks is happy.
He is a big boy, and actually they're waving over the medics. And Ash is not in a good state.
And the way his arm was compressed underneath him, but he's up. And we know Ash is a tough cookie. He's up, and maybe had the wind knocked out of him landing on the ball, but he's up and he's walking off, which is a good sign. But nevertheless, 4th down Nottingham after that Fredericks sack.
In the offensive line's defence, Ash had lots and lots of time there.
But he had lots of time, but that was because everybody dropped back in coverage. So not a lot of options, even though he had all the time he had.
Can always take off in that situation if nobody's open.
That's true.
Can't blame the offensive line for that one.
Nope. It's a coverage sack, George, is what that is.
Well, that was not a great punt there from Winfield that time.
So 2 sacks on the drive for Fredericks there. Not the best kick, as you mentioned, and this time Leicester will start in good field position inside the Caesars half on the Caesars 43-yard line. So only a 20-yard punt that time. That's Jack's 5th punt of the afternoon. The least effective of the lot. 1st down Leicester then. Coming up towards half-time in this one. Same formation. 2 receivers left, 1 right. 2 men in the backfield, one of which the very powerful Gums. As the stadium here goes quiet and Brammer drops back. And he looks to his left and he heaves the ball to the left. And that is caught! Great concentration from Danny Burton. Only really seen Danny Burton use his boots so far, but now brings his hands into play.
Yeah, great grab under contact. So it looked like 25, Sebastian Paris with the contact there from defensive back. It actually looked like he may well have the chance to pick off again, but Burton fighting through contact and getting that ball.
30-yard pickup on the link between Brammer and Burton. Puts Brammer close to 100 yards passing in this first half. 1st and 10, still just outside the 10-yard line, so 1st and 10 Leicester. Brammer again, here comes Gabidon in that familiar motion. The Caesars step up trying to pick up the jet sweep, and this time it's Francis who is met by a number of Caesars players, but that might well be a face mask penalty.
Caesars seem to have slowed that running game a little bit.
Marcus Francis with his second carry of the afternoon. Let's see if we can pick up whether or not this might be coming back for a face mask. I don't know, I can't really say anything there, but that flag definitely comes in. Only a pickup of 1 on the carry that time for Francis.
Holding on the offence, repeat first down.
So indeed a pickup of none on the carry by Francis, as the Falcons will be marched back 10 yards for the hold penalty.
This is a similar situation to where they were last week when they ended up going 40 yards backwards through penalties.
Coach Kassar won't be wanting a repeat of that after picking up numerous penalties already in this first half, which he highlighted as something he wanted to make right. That's a lovely ball out to Jarrett, and Jarrett picks up 10 yards back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, nice pickup there for him. Straight out from the QB, straight out from Brammer's hands, and hits him right in stride.
And that's what you said about that, swinging the ball out into the flats and getting the ball into the hands of your playmakers.
Playing that short ball, it's a safer ball to throw, as long as you're not throwing over the middle. But those kinds of passes are those that can make yards.
So 2nd and 10 from the original line of scrimmage as Brammer drops back again. Sets up in the pocket now, he takes off. He eludes one tackler, and Ashley Matthews manages to take him down for a sack. Yes, it is in the backfield, so that will be classed as a sack for Ash.
Yeah, Brammer again, he had time initially, and then it just comes through. Had to step out of the way, and Bash just making that coverage tackle.
Bash does what Bash does. So 3rd down and 12. And I think a timeout has been called. Well, that could even be the 2-minute warning. No. Timeout Falcons. With 3rd and 11 upcoming. So, having watched the game here last week against Coventry, do you see that Leicester have made progress?
Yeah, Leicester's offence have definitely clicked earlier this week. So Coach Kassar will be very happy about that. It's still a penalty issue, but with it clicking like it is, I don't think he'll be overly concerned heading forward towards this second half.
Always difficult to tell as well, because you're playing against 2 different defences, but from a defensive point of view, is it the fact that the Leicester offence are playing better, or is it the fact that the Coventry defence did a better job in that first half last week?
Coventry's defence did do a really good job. Can't take anything away from Coventry, but typically the Caesars defence are fairly solid. They've had a couple sacks, so you can't take anything away from the Caesars defence too much. They've been on the field a lot, but I think Falcons' offence really has just clicked. It's a 3rd game for them. And as they bond throughout this year, they're only going to be more and more effective.
Shout out to Coach Adrian Giles, who has just messaged in saying he's watching the game. Nice to know you're on board with us, Coach Giles. So back to play now after that Leicester timeout. 3rd and 11, make it maybe a long 11, even 12 yards for the Leicester offence, looking to punch in their 4th touchdown of the half. That same formation, Gabadon out wide to the right this time rather than being in the slot. As Brammer drops back to pass, the edge rush comes. Wilkins gets knocked down. They find Gabadon, and Gabadon makes the reception and then goes out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, so a very nice grab there on that sideline. We have got a replay of that.
Another completion for Brammer. Wilkins is bashed off coming around the edge, and Gabadon does a good job taking what he's given. He makes the catch, knows he's a couple of yards short, knows they've got 4th down, and 4th down has not been an issue for Leicester this afternoon. So 4th and 2. So 4th and 3. Maybe 2 according to the monitor. I think it's a long 2, maybe a 3. Let's see if Leicester can be successful with the 4th time this afternoon. Brammer drops back to pass. He spins and rolls. He puts the ball. There's 2 men out there, and it's caught, but it's caught short of the goal line. The catch is made, but that's going to be a turnover on downs pending the flag.
So yeah, there is a flag, and it was a great grab by Burton in the air.
Danny Burton with the reception there. Let's see what this flag is. So indeed that is a turnover on downs for Leicester, and that will disappoint Leicester not to be able to punch that in. But we have the distinct possibility with that Nottingham run game of 2 points from the defence.
Yeah, you hate to say it, but they haven't done anything to say otherwise so far, and with the
illegal procedure against the offence. That penalty's been declined. Red will take the ball first down.
So yes, how rude of the officials to interrupt you there, George. You were saying
they always do. No, the way the offence has performed so far, they've really not done anything to say that they're going to get out of this situation. Watch 2 sacks on the quarterback at the end of the last series.
So first down, 3 receivers to the left for Ash. You'd think this would be a run, but maybe they're just going to pop the ball out wide, and indeed and here comes the trouble, but he does get the ball out of his hands and throws it out of bounds in the general direction of Jack Winfield, but that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, the pressure came really quickly around that edge. Trying to put a play action into in that kind of area seemed a little brave to me, but
it's been a long first half, George. Coming up to 10-4 here. So talking about an hour and a half for a first half. Generally in the league a quarter takes around about half an hour, 35 minutes. Not that many stoppages. We had a couple of injuries, but no major ones. The running game has been quite prolific as well, which so the clock hasn't been stopping overly for incompletions as and it is picked off by Dom Olney through the hands of Patterson once again, and this one could be coming back, and Olney is on his feet into the end zone for a touchdown, Leicester.
Yeah, and that's Patterson's 4th drop of the game, I believe.
First turnover for the Falcons. First pick 6 for the Leicester team, and there you see straight through Patterson's hands, and Olney juggles it, manages to bring it back in on his own 15-yard line, and scampers back and gets himself into the end zone before he's brought down. Great return by Olney.
Had a lot of space to operate in, but that's the tip drill right there. Olney getting underneath that ball and takes it all the way home.
Pick 6 for the Falcons. Just as they had a pick 6 last week, they have another one this time out, intended for Patterson. Patterson generally is quite sure-handed, but he's been 3 or 4 balls that have gone through him today already.
Well, I count that as the 4th drop of the afternoon for him.
And the most costly one of the afternoon so far.
Maybe the cold is getting into his joints.
Dead ball foul on sportsmanlike conduct against number 66 on the red team, removing his helmet on the field of play. That penalty being enforced on the kick-off.
That penalty will be against Tom Harvey.
Frustrations boiling over for Nottingham, but can't allow it to be done. So let's see if Leicester can convert this 2-pointer to get them up to 28-0 before the half. Brammer motions Gabardon in to the right again, and this ball is pitched out to Francis, and Francis looks to turn the corner, but he can't make the pylon as Rob Hardwick pushes him out.
I'm starting to question whether this season's defence has actually been taught how to tackle properly. That's the 3rd time we've seen them almost lead with their head and shoulder, and at some point that is going to cause somebody some serious damage.
And that's Rob Hardwick, an experienced player and a veteran leader of that season's defence.
2 minutes in the half. 2 minutes.
It really is awful tackle form.
So we're at the 2-minute warning in this one. The score is 26.
Interesting to note, after the Jets we're down this much to the Falcons. The Falcons elected to rep in a lot of their kind of rookies, the guys that aren't seeing so much game time. So we actually saw 3 different quarterbacks for the Falcons last week, all of which were involved in a scoring drive. So we'll see if they start to look at rotating the offense round.
Coach Kassar mentioned to us prior to us going on air the fact that he was missing about 26 players, did he say?
Yes, yeah, which is incredible looking on the sideline.
Well, looking at the numbers on the sideline, looking at the score, looking at how effective Leicester have been on the field, to then think there are 26 others that could be white-shirted up there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's phenomenal, and testament to the way that the Falcons staff have built this team this year, and in fact not just this year, but the foundations they've put in place.
I think what's staggering is the quality at depth they've got as well. We've mentioned Taylor Brown, who I still argue is one of the best footballers in the country at the moment. They don't seem to be missing him currently.
Joe Brammer, 103 yards in the air so far. There's a squib kick. Bounces up and through one of the Caesars up backs, and Hardwick picks the ball up and fields it and is met at his 15-yard line.
Femi, number 16, trying to make the tackle.
So Leicester well over 100 yards on the ground with their 3 backs, Francis, Gums and Ogundana. Gabadon's chipped in there with one pickup of 25 yards on the ground.
Patterson had that running touchdown as well.
Patterson indeed. Over 100 yards through the air with Brammer and a variety of receivers again. Most notably Priest and Burton with the big pickups.
We've got somebody that agrees with us, and they're not even in the stands.
Stacey Patterson. Glad we decided to stay home last minute. That stadium looks Baltic.
It's getting that way.
Indeed it is. Well, thanks for your support anyway, Stacey, even if you are nice and warm at home, as Ash looks to get something going and he overthrows Robbie Jones, and Robbie Jones did have a step on his man down the seam there.
Yeah, the right read that time by Ash. Just not hitting that target, and that's 3 for 15.
3 for 15, not over 10 yards yet with his completion. In fact, that's an error, because Robbie did pick up 15 on that one play. So around about 20 yards through the air for Ash. 3 out of 15, 20 odd yards, 1 pick, and that's a pick 6 as well.
You look in comparison to Brammer, and Brammer's got a pretty good completion rate at the moment.
I think at the moment Brammer's 7 out of 10 for just over 100 yards.
Around about 70%.
Yeah. And the score is reflective.
Yeah, but you look, Brammer's throwing.
Dead ball foul, full start against the offence, 2nd down.
You look at Brammer and what he's been throwing. He's thrown a couple of deep balls, but within reason, most of them have been within around about that 15-yard mark from the line of scrimmage, if not 10. And that's where those completions
are ready on the snap. Oops.
And our official has just realised that he hasn't turned his mic off, but thankfully he has now, even though we've only got 1 ear left each. So 2nd and 15 after the false start penalty for the Caesars. Ash this time does flip it out to the backfield, and it's number 26. It's Corey Lawrence with the reception.
Big young running back.
Doesn't pick anything up on the play. It'll be 3rd and 15.
Really well covered up by the Falcons defence.
Lateral pursuit there. I mean, there's 6 players get over there and impact on that tackle.
We saw this in the Bafa Premiership final last year with the Tamworth Phoenix playing against the Blitz, and noted how fast the Phoenix were at getting to the ball on defence, and it proved effective for them. When you've got a defence that hustles, you're always going to stand a strong chance at winning those games.
So 3rd and 15. Nottingham not been in this one at all yet, and Leicester definitely on cruise control. You thought maybe that that stop on 4th down would spark some life into the Burgundy fire, but unfortunately shortly after Ash threw that pick 6 to Olney, And really, it was only just a matter of time.
You know, you look at the receivers that Caesars have out there. You look at Robbie Jones, obviously, and the likes of Kyle Pearson. They've got some quick guys, and what we haven't seen yet from them is any jet sweeps.
Ash drops back. There's nobody there over the middle. He's looking for Robbie Jones.
Flag on that far sideline as well.
Offside against the defence is being called, so it'll be 3rd and 10 rather than 3rd and 15. But another incompletion for Ash. Play action, throwing off the back foot, and there's 3 Falcons there.
Offside against the defence. Repeat 3rd down.
3 Falcons there, and only Robbie Jones. We know a few of you have got in touch with us, but keep doing so. Try and let us know who you're following, whether you're a Falcons supporter or a Caesar supporter or somebody else from around the Britball nation or indeed around the world. Anybody locally who wants to fancy bringing in a hot water bottle for the 2 of us up here? And
that came out like a wounded duck, I believe is the infamous saying. It was certainly the right read though, checking it down to the running back.
But the way that did come out, if he had caught it, I think he would have been hit for a loss because it was behind him, it was low, and number 90 there, Daniel Vishik for Leicester, I think would have soon put Corey Lawrence on the turf. And once again, 4th down is on the cards for Winfield and the Caesars offence. You never know. Olney will be hungry for another return, as will Jarrett. Tom Jarrett back with Olney. Let's see if anything more can come off the boot. That's a better kick from Winfield, but it is returnable.
Nice hang time.
They choose not to return it. And Kieran Matthews is the first man down for the Caesars.
It's going to be spotted on the Falcons 20-yard line, so a big kick there.
Another 50-yard kick from Winfield. With the wind though, the wind has gone now from right to left. I can feel that racing through my bones. As the Bafa assessor paces the sideline, looking like something out of Sherlock Holmes.
I was going to say he's looking like somebody from my community. The farming community.
Shout out.
Not some dark.
Shout out to the farming community.
Not some dark history at all.
So, 1st and 10 Leicester. Leicester looking to put anything else on the board inside this last minute or so, or?
I think they will.
Always. Brammer drops back and the play ends before it even has time to begin.
So you look at Falcons' offensive line, and there is a substantial size difference between the Caesars D-line and the Falcons O-line.
Indeed there is, and they've asserted that dominance all this first half, both in the run game and in the pass game. So first down Leicester, and there's a flag comes out late.
Equipment violation against the offence, not wearing a gum shield. Okay, that would be that's 5-yard penalty.
And now that is indiscipline. That is just no need for that whatsoever. So with the score at 26-0 in favour of the Falcons.
I think the Falcons will very much look to run this score up if they have time.
Well, you saw there, Brown was dropping back to pass. He wasn't taking the knee, he wasn't looking to hand the ball off. He's looking to exploit this Caesars defence wherever he can. And not only from the Caesars point of view, but from a league point of view, the Falcons want to put this marker down.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they did that with the Jets last week. But
Brammer jogging towards the sideline to his offensive coordinator.
So,
following this game, Falcons have a 3-week break.
It looks like the backup QB will be stepping in.
That's Ted Watts. So Ted Watts enters the game.
Ted Watts, a Leicester Longhorn, playing quarterback there in their wing style offence.
So now with this change, you wonder whether that is the last we've seen of Brammer for today, and whether or not, as you say, they will start repping some of the other players on the depth chart. Let's see what Watts can do. You would expect it to be a handoff, although there's only Francis in the backfield. And indeed, he's dropping back to pass. And he pops the ball over, and it's almost intercepted by Hardwick.
Yeah, looking for Gabardon. I think actually it was Brammer who had the equipment violation, so had to step out for a play.
I think you're quite correct, because out comes Watts, and very nearly threw a pick 6 on that first attempt.
Having said that, it did slip through Gabardon's hands as well. So. See what they come out with this time, but it does look like they're going to pass this ball down the field.
Does indeed.
Got, another single back style formation.
So here we go, Francis in the backfield again, 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Brammer looks to his left and sort of signals to Burton out there, and he looks and he steps up into the pocket and he hits Gabardon, and Gabardon is looked to be wrapped up, and he's not, and it's a toe tap from Bash, but not until Gabardon is picked up 30 yards.
Yeah, he's not a small receiver by any means, and he breaks that first tackle and just starts heading upfield.
Once again though, the tackle missed from Hardwick. Hardwick has him lined up and bounces off him, and he's a big man, Gabardon, but Ash does well to trip him up after that 32-yard pickup.
Yeah, it was a great coverage tackle by Ashley Matthews to make it. We'll see what they come out with this time. It looked like Gabardon is very much the target receiver of the day.
So 5th reception for Gabardon, over the 50-yard mark with that reception. And as we've already said, there is no doubting in what Leicester are looking to do before the half ends.
They will be happy, I think, at this stage going into the half.
So, first down, Leicester, just shy of midfield. Brammer in the backfield. Looks, and this time Wilkins comes from the left side, and Brammer puts up a prayer, and that is almost intercepted, but also almost caught by Gabardon.
Yeah, great coverage there. It looks like 20, Joe McDonald for the Caesars was the man on the coverage.
So third down, Leicester. 3rd and 10 for the Falcons. And you can see their intention. They're wanting more points. They wanted to go over that 30 point mark before time expires, as Brammer drops back again. He's got acres of time. He pops the ball out to the left side, and he's got his man Alex Priest, who runs out of bounds, but not until he gets a first down.
Second grab for that young man of the day.
Indeed, in fact, it was just shy of a first down. Brings up 4th down and 2, but does well to get out of bounds and stop the clock. Does Priest with that big grab in the first quarter. Brammer again drops back to pass. He steps up into the pocket. He's got time.
So much time.
He could take off, and he hits Burton for a first down, but now time is an issue.
In the middle of the field.
20-yard pickup for Burton. He'd have thought he'd spike the ball at this point, but
the officials have actually slowed the ball right down.
They have. And that is the half. And as we come into half time, a little word from EHL Commercial Law. Whether it's from selling or buying a business, negotiating a commercial lease, advising on intellectual property rights, or resolving a commercial dispute, at EHL Commercial they can assist your every need. As a fully fledged commercial practice, EHL offer a full wealth of commercial services including share and asset acquisition, commercial property sales and purchase and advisory and dispute resolution. For more details, visit ehlcommercial.co.uk, and it does appear that that's going to be a timeout by Nottingham rather than it being the half. So once again, ehlcommercial.co.uk for more details. Great ball over the middle there by Brammer, finding Burton.
Yeah, and I think for Brammer, he's got some receivers that have done really well to catch things, and obviously Ash has had a number of drops from receivers in the open field. and that really makes a difference.
First down, Brammer. Rush coming from the edge, but he steps up, eyes downfield. Oh, just out of the reach of his intended receiver, which I believe is Priest.
Very much two receivers wide open in the end zone there.
And that will be the half here from Hinckley, with our score of the Leicester Falcons 26 and the Nottingham Caesars 0. We'll be back shortly to bring you second half coverage, but we're going to go and try and warm up, grab a coffee, and we'll be back shortly after this break.
Just a stroll without a care, cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get there with a smile on my face. Yeah, so lift me up, I'm moving on, singing and dancing while I play my song. Yeah, I'm having a good time, keeping it going. Come on, clap your hands and won't you sing along, and I'll say it up high.
Welcome back to Hinckley, to this NFC 1 South Division matchup between the Leicester Falcons and the Nottingham Caesars. As you can see on the screen, really one side of the fair this afternoon here. It's an absolutely freezing Hinckley Road Stadium here in Leicestershire.
Yeah, this place must catch the wind. I can't speak with coffee in my mouth very well.
As our cameraman said, if I think it's Hawaii, maybe it'll make me feel like I'm in Hawaii. I'm very optimistic.
It's
but
not working so far.
It's not. Anyway, we welcome you back just before the second half is about to get underway. The Falcons deferred, so they'll be receiving the ball in the second half to see if they can pile the misery even further on the team from just up the M1. Get in touch with us on the Twitter. You can see CK Darren there. Gutted I can't be there today to play Falcons. Keep watching the game. Oh, I can't even read, I'm so cold. Watching the game on a long train ride home. Keep it up. Thanks CK Darren for getting involved. But if you can keep those tweets coming in, we love hearing from you. Whether you're local to the Hinckley Road Stadium here, whether you're a little further afield, whether you're not on these shores, whether you're watching.
Tell us what the temperature's like in Hawaii.
Yeah, please. Red Leicester taught Bill Hefford everything he knows. Good to see he's still getting snaps. Thanks for tuning in, as the Caesars will look to kick off for the first time in this game, having not yet been able to find the scoreboard. Jack Winfield again, the kicker, probably the most successful Nottingham Caesar out there today, as he drives this one, and it's fumbled by number 23, Diwan. And Diwan makes one tackle a miss, and then is met, but steps out of that tackle and is eventually brought down just outside his own 20-yard line. It'll be first down Leicester, the start of this third period, on the 22.
Yeah, well covered up by the Caesars kick team there. Let's see if their defence is going to come out as stout as we know it can be.
Well, let's see to start with as well who comes back out for the Falcons, and indeed quarterback Joe Brammer is coming back out onto the field. We've got the main guys out there with, I can see Gabadon, I can see Priest, I'm pretty sure that's Marcus Francis in there as well. I'd be amazed if Adam Gums wasn't out there with the guys as well. Indeed he is in the backfield, so it's Gums and Francis in the backfield with
that power pair.
Priest, Gabadon, and one other receiver whose number eludes me at the top for Brammer. And Brammer looks to roll to his right, and he looks for Gabadon, and he's got Gabadon, and Gabadon catches the ball, picks up 4 yards, and then steps out of bounds.
Yeah, so there's a nice toss on the rollout as well for Brammer.
First completion of the half for Brammer, pretty much going where he left off.
Nice fake, rolls out well. Exactly on point. And that's the difference so far between Brammer and what we've seen of Ash so far.
Brammer starts the second half very much as he finished the first half. First half, we make it 9 of 11 for 104 yards, 1 TD. Second down, this time Gums does get the carry, and he gains a couple and still pushes that pile forward, picks up 4 yards.
Yeah, just going to grind down now.
So third and short.
Their running game so far has been very, very successful, and a key to this offence. Francis and Gums combining very, very well.
As much as anything, you'd like Nottingham to get a stop here just to try and see if we can make this game competitive. Because obviously if the score differential gets to 35 points between the teams, we do end up going to a running clock as part of almost like the mercy rule, as Gabadon comes in motion, and Francis this time takes the ball, and that's a good tackle.
Well stopped, yeah. That's 24, Kieran Matthews on the tackle for the Caesars.
And indeed, for the first time that I can remember for a long time, the Falcons will punt.
It was a much better tackle as well, we mentioned in the first half. They've been almost leading with the shoulder and not a lot else, and he's managed to wrap him up there and just push him back. And that's all they need to do. You don't need to be a superstar.
So, 4th down Leicester. Burton back to punt. Try and give you some score updates as we get into this second half of play. In the Prem, the Edinburgh Wolves are beating the Sheffield Giants at half-time by 16-7. That's the Premiership North. In the Prem South, the Bristol Aztecs 14-7 ahead of the London Olympians. That's in the second quarter. The Bury Saints trailing the Farnham Knights 16-18 in the third quarter. In the NFC 1 North, the opposite division to this, the Glasgow Tigers are trailing the Yorkshire Rams by a score of 10-0, and that's in the fourth.
The offence, 4th down.
Northumberland Vikings and the Gateshead Senators sharing a real close one, 20-19 in favour of the Vikings in the fourth quarter.
Gateshead playing in their bright orange Colour Rush jerseys, I believe, today, Colour Rush kit.
And in this division, we have Sandwell taking on Shropshire. In the West Midlands, currently 20-13 in favour of the Steelers, as Burton gets the punt away, and it's a nice punt, and it takes a Falcons bounce, and it is fielded.
It's Chris Peacock on the return. Ooh, just a clattering of helmets there.
And Peacock brings the ball back 4 yards, and the Caesars will take over at the 30-yard line with a new quarterback at the helm.
It looks like number 12, Simon Denning, stepping out. I believe he had the fourth quarter with their game against the Revolution.
Different style of quarterback to Ash, much more pocket passer based. Obviously got the height where Ash hasn't. Makes it a little easier for him to stay over the offensive line. A veteran of the game, played with the Caesars a few years ago and then moved away and has come back just at the start of this 2018 season.
Dr. Denning, let's see if he can diagnose what's been going wrong and get things moving forward.
And dissect that Falcons secondary.
That's a surgeon.
First down, he looks to the air to start off with. He makes a read.
And it's another drop. But that was Johns
Danny
that
Johns,
time.
number 87. And on point. And to be fair, checked down as well.
Yep.
Went to his first read, wasn't there. You'll see his head, checks to his right, nothing there. And then Johns does have that.
This is the issue Ash had in the first half. A number of drops from wide open receivers, and Johns there really was wide open.
Nice to see Denning had time in the pocket again.
And you know, in defence of the offensive line, Ash had time as well in the first half. And that offensive line typically has been very good at pass protection, not so strong on the run side, but often give their quarterback, that's going to be a false start. It looked like 87, Johns the wide receiver.
So, an auspicious start there again for the Caesars offense. 2nd and 10 will turn into 2nd and 15 after that penalty.
Dead ball foul, full start against the offence. Still 2nd down.
Not sure if that was Johns or Jones, but one of your receivers at the bottom of your screen certainly jumped.
So what was 1st and 10 becomes 2nd and 15. And unfortunately, as much as has been the way this afternoon, the Caesars are marching the wrong way. Winfield nearest to us. He's a big rangy receiver, Winfield, like you say, 19-year-old. The ball this time is handed off, and the Caesars meets that one immediately. That's Brad Barkley with the carry and loses at least 3 yards.
Yeah, I forget how old Winfield is. He might be 20, 21, I don't know. Must be at least 20.
Unfortunately, from my perspective, that run game isn't going to get it done. And as much as you want to try and keep the defence honest, I think 26 points to 0 down, you've got to almost abandon that run game to some degree.
As we mentioned earlier, over the last 12 months or so, certainly last season, the Caesars really haven't had a run game to speak of.
And is that because of the offensive line, or is that because of the running back group?
You know, we've seen Holmes and Jason Robinson, two talented guys, and when they do get into open space can make things move. And it's always nice to see an offensive lineman lay out for that.
That was Joe Wilkins, who almost lived that lineman's dream and made his first career reception.
I got it, coach.
Here he goes, Denning again. He's got time, doesn't really step into that throw.
That's an effort play there from an offensive lineman.
Indeed it is.
Of course, it would have been a legal catch as it was touched by another player first.
So a very quick 3 and out at the beginning of this second half for Nottingham.
In regards to the running game for the Caesars, the offensive line's pass protection's been very, very good. Certainly last season, but I think they do lack a little bit of push going forward in the running game. Whether it's the scheme, whether it's the players, I couldn't tell you.
There's a flag there, and Fredericks stepped to the wide line of scrimmage and made one of the Caesars jump. Let's see what the ref's going to call it. I think he's going to call it on 88.
He is pointing on 88.
But it was definitely Fredericks who jumped. Made that move towards the offensive line. Just depends how the officials are going to see it.
Stepped across that neutral zone.
Jack Winfield stands back there waiting to punt for the 7th time today for Nottingham.
Okay, dead ball foul, full start against the offence. Okay, repeat 4th down, Blumenett.
Oh, Blumenett, as the official says.
I think that was on 24, Kieran Matthews, but
I think the officials down there are as keen to get home as we are in the stands with this current temperature.
I think he should maybe pick his flag up.
Yeah, there we go. Kyle Pearson hands the laundry back to the official.
One of the few completions of the day for the Caesars.
And Winfield with the kick. And it's another good kick that hangs up in the wind. And there's a chance for this to be fielded, but it takes a Caesars bounce again. And that's fielded down by Kyle Pearson at the Leicester 32-yard line. So another good punt from Winfield. And the only thing really this afternoon that's been working. Kicking into the wind, never easy, but he's managed to send that ball another 40 yards downfield.
Yeah, you just see it catch in the air there as it slowed at the peak of its. Oh, and that really is a breeze coming through the stands.
By my reckoning, that's over 300 punting yards Jack Winfield has amassed this afternoon.
It's not too bad.
300 punting yards on 7 punts.
In regards to his punting stats, of course.
Absolutely. Not good for the Caesars offence, but...
No. And I would hazard a guess that the Caesars offence haven't yet crossed the 100 yards.
Not even close, I'm afraid. So, Brammer goes back to work. He drops back. He's got protection from Gums. And he's got Gavidon, and Gavidon makes the catch at midfield. And then swivels out of bounds at around the 41-yard line of Nottingham.
It looks like Wilkins was the man that made the tackle eventually. And looked like this ball was just dropped over 13, Mark Martin, who tried to get some fingertips on it.
Great concentration from Gavidon there on the sideline. Another 14-yard pickup.
A lot of Derby Braves players are heavily linked with the Falcons. You can see the various different helmets throughout the team, and I believe Gavidon is a former Brave.
So first down, Leicester inside Caesars territory. That same formation, 2 receivers, and there's that same run again, and it works every single time. And Gums has got that ball inside the 25, inside the 20 before he's brought down by Kieran Matthews, but not before a pickup of another 30 yards. Make that 25 yards for Gums.
He has had a very, very good game on the ground today. You look at him and you think he can't be that quick, but once he gets moving, he gets moving fast.
So another first down. Leicester knocking on the door again.
He's not a man that you want to be stood still trying to make a hit on.
Gums very close to 100 yards with that carry, and this time it's a new runner. We've got Ashton Patterson, scored in the first half, in the first quarter, with that his only other carry. Doesn't pick up much on that one. In fact, I think he may even have lost half a yard on that. 2 carries, 6 yards, and a score for Patterson on the day.
Very effective runner last week against the Jets. Picking up 2 scores.
Gums indeed has gone over 100 yards with that last carry. He's currently totaling 115 yards on 10 carries. That tells you all you need to know about his average as Brammer steps forward into that of the pocket. He's got a man, and the man makes the reception, and he's into the end zone for the 5th touchdown of the afternoon for the Falcons.
Yeah, and that was Rob Lambert with the reception there, the touchdown reception.
1 reception, 18 yards, score number 5.
And he was left wide open as well in the end zone. There really was no coverage around him. And it looked like Brammer threw that off his back foot as well, and it was still on point.
Brammer's second TD. Oh, and the kick is blocked, which means the play is live. And that's fielded by a Caesar, but he's not going anywhere after that.
So the kick there is blocked. That will make it score. Leicester Falcons 32.
So 3 TDs, we make that through the air for Brammer.
Yeah, an impressive game again. He had a good game last week, and he's really starting to find his groove with his receivers.
32-0 now, Leicester marking their dominance on this East Midlands rivalry. Once again, let's try and check in with other scores around the country, see if anything has ended up coming to a close. There was a very close one going on with Northumberland. That remains in the NFC 1 North. Northumberland Vikings 20 and the Gateshead Centres 19, still in the 4th quarter.
That's an interesting score just looking over your shoulder at the Under-19s League. Manchester Titans winning out over the Chester Romans 14-6, and the London Blitz beating the Warriors 22-0.
Absolutely, as the kick is a beauty again from Burton, and that ball is fielded at the goal line. Pearson gets up to his 5, runs laterally, and then is snagged by 3 Falcons, and that will be a penalty, I believe, against Leicester.
And Leicester have a man down.
They do indeed.
No, he does.
Let's have a look again, see if we can see whether that's a personal foul penalty, as Pearson returns that one from his goal line up to his 5, and then he's swung around. I think that might be even a horse collar tackle. Some concern for the Leicester player there on the floor. Can't quite get a number on that at the minute. I think I can see a 0 on.
Looks like 30.
Personal foul, face cage, by number 7 on the defence. It'll be first down after the enforcement.
That gives Nottingham a little bit of breathing room as the injured Falcon is back on his feet. And it is number 30, you're quite right, George. That's Matt Thomas, defensive back for the Falcons, but he makes his own way off without too much distress.
Just going back to that under-19 game last season, I think the Titans beat the Romans by quite some margin and kept a clean sheet. So the Romans really stepping up.
You know the Titans really well. Have they sort of? Would that be the case with Chester stepping up, or with Manchester? Have they sustained where they were last season, Manchester?
I think the Titans will certainly be a team to look out for this year. We hosted them for pre-season, and they seem like a very, very talented squad.
So props to the Romans then for keeping that one close. As Denning and the offence take to the field once again, looking to try and get something going. Denning looks to his left, he throws to his left, and he's got a man out there. And that man is number 17, and that's Charlie Patterson. Charlie Patterson for the first completion, a nice completion. And that's a pickup of 30 yards. First down, and Patterson managed to get behind his defender, and actually that ball was underthrown by Denning as well.
Yeah, it was. Patterson did well to get back and get that ball caught. But, I'm sure Dr. Denning will be happy with his first completion.
Let's see if we can get more of the same. He looks to the right this time, and this time he has a man. He's got Robbie Jones, and Robbie Jones makes a man miss.
Still on his feet.
Still on his feet, and he's still on his feet, and taking men with him for another Nottingham first down. And it may well be it may well be that Nottingham have something going on this with that change of quarterback.
And he's the sort of player that if you do get the ball in hand, he will make moves.
Look how elusive he is. 1 man, 2 men miss, 3 men miss, 4 men miss, and then it takes the 6th man in the end to bring him down. The pick up of 15 for Jones. So 45 yards through the air for Denning on this drive from 3 attempts. This time the ball is handed off, and unfortunately
Lawrence nowhere to go.
One's going nowhere once again.
And that really does, and it needs to be worked on with the Caesars. They need to get that offensive line working. I don't know whether it's a scheme issue, as I said earlier, or whether it's players. You
saw there though the offensive line were pushed backwards, almost towards the running back there, and you're never going to get anything positive when that's happening. So 2nd and 15 after the loss of 5 on the play.
Falcons really do have a strong defensive front. You look at Fredericks, he is a very big, powerful man.
Again, he underthrows that, looking for Danny Johns that time.
Yeah, that didn't come out of his hands well at all.
3rd and 15. Obviously, Denning's getting a little bit of confidence now for those 2 completions. Takes the snap well there, steps into the pocket, doesn't fully commit to that throw. Step all the way onto that front foot and
I think he got a little caught off guard. The snap was a little to his right.
Yeah.
He did well to keep an eye on and catch it clean.
So another big 3rd and 15 for Nottingham. Obviously, the Falcons' defence will be keen to keep a 2nd clean sheet in a row.
It would really be another marker for the rest of this NFC 1 South Conference.
Comes motion, and Patterson this time in motion. He's got a little bit of room,
space,
but only going to get around about 6-7 yards on the carry, which will bring up 4th down. And at this stage in the game and this field position, there's no reason not to go for it. Pickup of 9 there for Patterson.
It's the first time we've seen that Caesar sweep, and it was effective. It's the first real gains they've picked up on the ground.
The jet sweep indeed. In comes Winfield into the huddle, and out goes Patterson after that carry. I'd like to see Winfield have the odd ball thrown to him. He's a big, tall receiver. In fact, he's coming into the backfield,
and he's very.
In fact, they're going for a field goal.
We'll see if he can hit this. It's for him. It will be a roughly 47-yard attempt with the 10 yards at the end zone and the 7 yards that he stood back.
Pre-game, he was hitting from close to 50, but the wind is in his face as it just picks up. Good snap, good hold. He's a decent effort of a kick. And that's an excellent kick for Jack Winfield.
47-yard field goal attempt kick for Jack Winfield.
That's an outstanding effort, and he has been the Caesars standout player this afternoon for a couple of reasons, but puts his foot through that lovely line drive through.
And I think it's you don't see that at all really in American football over here. You see the odd field goal from around about the sort of 20 yards out, but from that sort of distance, 47-yard kick for a kicker, it's quite incredible.
Now that is something that obviously has been well rehearsed, because Denning had to get quite a high snap and bring it down, and he put it down. And one thing that I know from knowing Jack Winfield from the juniors, he doesn't struggle with confidence, does he?
No.
So he's never going to go on the field and doubt himself, I don't think.
No, he played tight end for myself. He stands about 6'6". He's a big receiver, and he can move. He utilises his body well in the air. Not the quickest guy, but given the opportunity, he'll make things happen.
So Nottingham avoid the shutout on the afternoon. That's one positive they can take from this, and their first points, in fact, of the 2018 campaign. As Winfield drives the ball again to Dewan, and Dewan puts that ball under his left arm and takes up, and there's no one there for Nottingham, and he's up to midfield already, and he's pushed out of bounds by Stephen Bryan, but not until he gets inside Nottingham territory, up to the 40-yard line of the Caesars.
Yeah, there was nobody there at all. I think they had a couple guys fly down the field. It did look like there was a bit of an odd move by the Falcons kick return team. He grabbed a leg and yanked a man down. But, Falcons will start on the Caesars 40.
So 50-yard return there. Again, Winfield with a decent line drive, but because it was a line drive, it didn't give the kick coverage team much chance to get down and stay in that lane discipline you'd expect. Anyway, right in front of us, level with our commentary position. First down, Leicester. Brammer drops back again, looking for more points as he's expecting. He's under pressure and he rolls and escapes, rolls to his left, still got a man, and that ball could be intercepted.
Yeah, it looks like Rob Hardwick with the pick.
And they're going to call it intercepted by Rob Hardwick. A great effort going to the ground by Rob.
That's the second pick Brammer's thrown this afternoon.
And the heart and soul of this Nottingham defence does lead by example again. Brammer does well to buy time, rolls out to his left, and then on he's still moving. Not a bad ball really, just a really athletic play by Hardwick to get in between that pass.
Let's see if he can spark this offence into action.
As you say, the second pick on the afternoon for Brammer.
Brammer looks so calm under pressure though. He's always got his eyes downfield.
I expected that to be completed.
And it wasn't a bad throw at all. It was just a very, very nice play by Hardwick.
Denning feels a low snap and he goes up top.
That's going to...
And it's caught by Danny Johns. Danny Johns.
It looked like Pell was licking his lips there.
It did indeed, but a good hand strength. And the Nottingham offence has found some life.
It was another underthrown ball though, and that will be something to work on, but Johns did very, very well to fend off Pell and pull that ball in.
On 3 attempts, Denning is now racked up 75 yards. He's 3 of 5 for 75 yards. And I do think, if I'm perfectly honest, as much as it becomes predictable, Nottingham have got to stick with that passing game rather than go back to the ground. Looking to get... and there's a flag down.
There was a flag, and I think it's going to be offside. Although Jimmy thinks it might be a false start.
Let's see what the call is. Let's have a look. See if we can, I think it's going to be encroachment. I do. I don't think any of the Nottingham offensive line moved.
Offside against the defence. Repeat first down.
And there we go.
There's a number of times the Falcons have been caught now on in that offside position. They were similar position last week against the Jets. A very aggressive defensive front, keen to get to that quarterback.
So full-time score from the Prem. Bristol Aztecs beating the Olympians 14-7.
Close game.
Farnham Knights currently ahead 26-16 against the Bury Saints in the fourth. Still 16-10 Edinburgh Sheffield in the third quarter now as Denning goes to the air again. And he's got Danny Johns over the middle again. And Danny Johns picks up another first down and then some. He picks up another 25 yards.
And that's what we said earlier, playing that short game, allowing your receivers, your running backs to take that ball and really, I suppose, put those dance moves on and get upfield.
That's a 20-yard pickup rather than the 25, but nevertheless.
Speaking to Coach Warner at half-time, the plan was to try and get that short game going, and it seems like he's come out with that.
Dennings looked composed in the pocket a little more than Ash maybe in the first half.
There's plenty of time for the quarterbacks back there. The offensive line, as we've said many a time, pass protection is very, very good. The run protection or the run game leaves a little to be desired, but you work with what you've got and they can always move forward.
Denning around 5 yards short of that 100-yard marker just in this first short section of the third period. No, apologies. Looking back on the score stream, it's a 14-7 half-time score to the Bristol Aztecs over the London Olympians. 14-7 at the half. Glasgow Tigers trailing the Yorkshire Rams, or in fact Glasgow Tigers have lost to the Yorkshire Rams by a score of 10-0. And that score in Gateshead with the Vikings against the Senators has gone final, with the Vikings running out 20-19 winners in that one. Sandwell, Shropshire. Wow, Sandwell escape a scare there. 2019 winners, Sandwell at home against the Shropshire Revolution.
A couple close games, and that's a little bit of a surprise that the Revolution have Sandwell, we talked about being the guys that could compete against this Falcons team, but it sounds like the Revolution may well be in a position to also challenge them.
Bit of a dark horse, Shropshire.
Absolutely.
Get involved with the show. You've just seen that flash up on the screen as Denning drops back to pass again, and he puts the ball over the top, and he's looking for Robbie Jones, just overthrows Jones in the back corner of the end zone. So yeah, get in touch with us again. We've had a few tweets in the first half. I know from a 32-3 scoreline, it's not necessarily a game that people are going to be gripped to, unless you're a Falcons supporter and are enjoying a blowout score.
Said that the Caesars are starting to move that ball around.
Bajan Rebel, number 24, speed and stamina. I assume he's referring to Adam Gums there, number 24. I think he's got both, and he's got a little bit of power thrown in there as well. As Denning drops back again and he floats another one over. Risky throw. Oh, should have been intercepted by Alex James. It appears that that ball, other people may have seen it clearly, but it may have been a bit of a blur to Alex James. See if you can anybody picks up on that.
It does appear Denning struggles a little bit with the deeper balls. He was trying to loft that into nearly a triple coverage there.
You haven't picked up on that blur reference there, did you?
Should I? Is that an old man's joke?
Well, Jimmy and I sort of know what it was, so yes, it
nearly old as his father time.
It is an old man joke. Yeah, have a look at go and look at your.
I'm very much aware of who Blur are.
There you go.
It was a little over my head.
Third and 10. 3 receivers to the left for Denning this time. Patterson on the right. He looks left. He's got a man over the middle, or he did have, and that's in and out of the hands of 2 Leicester defenders.
Yeah, and he's just chucking this away now. He's really struggling in that coverage system that the Falcons are running. It's the second time he's thrown it into triple coverage. It looked like Beckett got the deflection first, but he's got to just stay calm and collected. Just needs to finish off the play.
Is Winfield coming on again? Not this time. 4th and 10 from the 14-yard line. And after a promising start from Denning, he's missed on his last 3 attempts. So let's see if he can do any better on this final play of this set of 4. He looks to pass, he's got a man, and that's straight into the arms of a Leicester defender. And a good tackle in the end. That's number 44.
Yeah, James Beckett, former Caesar, picking off that ball.
James Beckett indeed, and he'll love the fact that was literally just thrown to him. Sat back in that zone coverage. Denning obviously just didn't see him at all.
Yeah, that ball really didn't come out well either. And it appears Denning has found his weakness in that final quarter of the field, just not being able to push it in.
So after what appeared to be a promising drive for Denning and the Caesars, it ends with disappointment.
Looks like Hardwick's moved back to safety. That's where he should be with his old man legs.
And the ball's handed off to Francis over the right side. Francis is bottled up quickly that time by the Caesars defensive front.
And that Caesars defensive front's been much better covering that run game over the last quarter or so. Falcons will look to get that moving again, and it was their bread and butter through the first quarter and a half.
So, 2nd and 10, Leicester inside their own half with the score 32-3 to the home team. Brammer again hands off, and this time Francis bounces off 2 initial Caesars players and does well to pick up close to 8 yards on the carry.
Yeah, it was Martin that pushed him out of bounds. I think Francis actually ran into the back of his own offensive lineman, if you see it on this replay.
Really, that's another one where the Caesars possibly could have had him for a loss.
Francis does very well though. Real power, speed and everything you really want in a running back. It's not yet to see that hurdle though.
No indeed, no chicken coming as of yet. 6 yards on the pickup, brings up 3rd and 4. Will Brammer drop back and pass this time, or will he feed those 2 hungry running backs? He does indeed feed Gums, and Gums drops the ball. That ball is out, or is it going to be rolled down? Let's see what the ruling is.
Hardwick with the recovery, which...
Now, the signal by the near side official is that it's still Leicester football. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can see any clearer. There's Gums taking the ball. There's that big gap again. He cuts back. That ball definitely comes out.
That is a fumble.
Definitely comes out.
And Falcons have got away with one there.
They really have, and we don't have instant replay available today for the officials, but that definitely was a fumble by Gums, and he has, like you say, not only got away with one, but he has got a first down. And indeed, we've mentioned it a couple of times, the Bafa assessor is here this afternoon. He'll be re-watching the video of this, and as the snap is fumbled that time, and Brammer just drops on it.
Falcons just struggling a little bit.
I say, interesting for the assessor to re-watch that play in the warmth and comfort of his own home.
It's always difficult to see, really, and it wasn't like it was open field. It's in a crowd of players.
You generally know, though, the more you watch this sport as a game, you generally know the way a pattern of a fumble. That was very much a balls out drop on. Sometimes when the ball carriers hit the ground already, there's that sort of everyone stops and then they go again as the ball comes out. But nevertheless, we are where we are. 2nd and 12 now, and this time Francis with the carry. And Francis does pick up positive yardage.
Like number 6 there for the Falcons.
Oh, sorry.
Ogundana.
And it was Ogundana again. Not heard too much of him. Only his 3rd carry of the day. Although on 3 carries, he has now picked up 56 yards and a score. Sorry, not a score. That was Patterson I was thinking of. So just for 56 yards.
Has.
He has gone in.
Has also got a score.
Third down, Leicester. 3rd and 6. Expect them to pick this up with the way they've been performing today. Let's see if Nottingham can stiffen the ball. It's Ogundana again, and indeed that's a good play led by Ashley Matthews again, and he comes up with the ball, but there's no way that one's going to be given to the Burgundy Fire.
And that's the Caesars defence of old that we've become accustomed to over the last few seasons, and a hard-hitting defence that stuffs the run game first. To see if their offence can help them out. Looks like the Falcons will be punting away with Burton as a kicker.
We just been informed that the general manager of the Falcons, Guy Kersey, is watching, but he's not just watching from home, he's watching in Chicago. So
nice for some.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kersey. I'm sure you'll be pleased with how your outfit are performing this afternoon, as the ball is kicked away and takes initially a Leicester bounce, but then rolls backwards as 85 Chris Peacock drops on that ball, and Denning and the Caesars offence will return once again.
I'm slightly confused. As a coach, I would be telling my returner just to walk away rather than chasing it down into a crowd of Falcons or a flock of Falcons.
I would be doing similar.
But, it's just asking for trouble.
Indeed.
It doesn't take much, just a slip to touch that ball to make it live again.
I quite agree. Nevertheless, how long do you expect Leicester to keep their starters in at this stage? Obviously, this game's done as a contest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised they haven't already rotated players round. I was almost certain they'd come out with Watts actually at the start of the half, but kept Brammer in. Perhaps they're looking to give the Caesars a bit of a licking. And
as Denning drops back, and he's got Winfield, and that's a nice grab by Winfield, who is absolutely flattened, but not until he's picked up 8 yards.
So it's a high ball, but that's the advantage of having a man of that height.
So Winfield with his first grab of the game, and again Denning manages to complete a pass. He does look his man down all the way, and it is a high ball, and the likes of Patterson and maybe Danny Johns might not have reached up for that one, but with Winfield's height.
And said Winfield, a slower receiver, and as I said, utilised him at tight end, and he was often left uncovered.
2nd, in fact 9 yards on the pickup for Winfield there. 2nd and 1. And Jack Winfield is making a strong case for Caesar's MVP at the moment, as Denning in and out of the hands of guess who again?
That wasn't a nice ball though, it came out all over the place. That is the end of the third quarter, and you'll score at the end. Falcons 32, Caesars 3.
Patterson doesn't appear to be playing with a great deal of confidence. I know obviously you drop a couple of balls at the start of a game and it can affect you, but you've got to have a very short memory as a receiver.
I think you've got a short memory full stop, haven't you?
Patterson doesn't appear to be playing with a lot of confidence, and I know when you drop a couple of balls at the beginning of a game, then it can affect you, but you've got to have a very short memory as a receiver.
That was awful. That was awful.
But in all seriousness, it does seem. I know Charlie from being around the Caesars for a number of years, way back, and he's a very able receiver.
We've seen that he made a monster grab on the sideline earlier, but that's the 5th drop of the game now.
So at the beginning of this fourth quarter, this one may be over as a contest. I think anyone watching who knows anything about this game would be surprised if Nottingham are able to come back into this one, but maybe they can close the gap for a little bit of respectability and also to give them some hope moving forward.
It's 3rd and short. We'll see if they elect to run or pass. And they have elected to run that ball. Corey Lawrence with the carry, and it
looks to be close. Looks to be close to first down yardage.
Bash Matthews playing as the fullback there.
When you've got Bash in there, there we go. Bash leads the way, and that is the longest run of the day for the Caesars running backs. Who was that with the carry? I was just looking elsewhere.
Corey Lawrence.
Corey Lawrence. So Corey has got something positive. He's in positive yardage.
Again, it looks like they're going to run
again. Now Corey's coming this way, and that lateral pursuit. The ball's out, and that ball is definitely out. And Leicester drop on the ball, and just like that, after some positivity from the Caesars offense, Leicester pounce, and it's number 95.
Yeah, and Corey really had nowhere to go.
Rob Rees falls on that ball after a crunching tackle. 3rd Nottingham turnover of the day.
And that's the issue that, as we've said so many times, the Caesars just can't get the running game going.
Here it is, look at that.
There's 3, 4, 5, 6 Falcons and no Caesars around him at all.
3 men converge on that tackle, and Rob Rees is the man who drops on the fumble. So, Leicester in business once again, 1st and 10 inside the Nottingham 30-yard line. Brown is still in the game. Francis still in the game. Gum's still in the game. Brammer drops back to pass. He's got acres of space and time, and Gavadon on the sideline with a lovely catch for a first down.
That looked so casual.
Didn't appear that there was a Nottingham defence on the field.
Even Gavadon, after that catch, he just absolutely no pressure at all.
Pick up of 13 on the play. Third completion of the half for Brammer. (32-3) here in Leicester. First down, Falcons. Brammer, quick ball out to Gabadon, and there's no one near him again. His DB playing so far off. Picks up 4 yards that time on the completion.
Plenty of space for Gabadon, and he didn't quite utilise it quite how I thought he would, but Another completion for Brammer to put to his name, and he's just running up the stats.
2nd and 5, Leicester now knocking on the door once again. And I know if they get this one in, I'm pretty sure they'll go for 2 to try and get that 40 point mark up there. Let's see. 2nd and 5, Leicester. Brammer again drops back to pass.
He's got Priest.
Oh, he's thrown off his back foot that time and in and out of the hands of a Caesars defender. And yeah, that's not the best throw we've seen Brammer perform this afternoon. So still another chance though. 3rd down. Third and 5.
See if the Caesars defense can hold strong, and whether they're going to give it to one of those big boys in the backfield to run straight in.
Brammer closing on 150 yards through the air. Looks to the air again. He looks for Gabidon, and Gabidon can't haul that one in.
Yeah, Hardwick crashing down very, very fast.
Well, you know what's going to happen here. There's no way they're not going for it on 4th down. I would if I was them. Let's see how successful it can be. Very reminiscent of the first half when they went for a 4th down close to the Caesars goal line and came up short, but then a couple of plays later when Nottingham were on offence, Dom Olney got the pick 6. So let's see if any different happens this time as Brammer drops back again to pass, looking for another touchdown. He's got Gabidon in the corner.
Hardwick's there.
And Hardwick does very well to break that one up.
Gabidon having to play DB there. Just left that release too late, and that gap between Gabidon and Hardwick closed very, very quickly.
So last time this happened, Nottingham were buoyed by holding Leicester to a 3 and out. A 4 and out and a turnover on downs, and then within the next 2 plays found themselves 6 more points behind on the scoreboard. Let's see whether or not the Leicester defence can repeat that feat.
Looks like Simon Denning still in at quarterback.
So Simon Denning still at quarterback. So incomplete on 1st down from Denning. Second down, Nottingham. This game obviously in the 4th quarter now, 29-point deficit for the Caesars. We said we might have a chat about the draft weekend. Any notable, obviously you're a Rams fan.
I'm a Rams fan. We had no 1st or 2nd round picks, but we picked up a decent tackle in the 3rd. We need a number of players, and Corey Lawrence picking up a couple of yards.
Did you end up watching the other draft or tracking much of it at all? Or
unfortunately, I did not. I would have liked to, but never really got a chance. But there's been some great pickups. Obviously, the quarterback. That the quarterback situation was always going to be an interesting one, and obviously first pick of the draft,
Baker Mayfield. That turned some eyes. Turned some heads, I think, a little bit.
Particularly might have gone first, but
the way Josh Rosen obviously reacted in his first press conference, I think he's in a good fit there in the desert in Arizona.
Jackson being picked up by the Ravens in the 1st round as well.
So I say as that Denning goes to his
now that looked like
offensive pass interference or defensive, but nevertheless. Matt Thomas, the DB for the Falcons, has picked that one off. There's no flags on the play, and Matt Thomas returns that 25 yards to the Caesars 20, and even though it's not a pick 6, very almost deja vu all over again.
Absolutely, and Denning really struggling on those deep balls.
So Denning with his second pick of the half. So yeah, I say Josh Rosen, even though he's landed in the desert, and I do think he'll be in a good place there. You could see he was bitter with his comment about 9 mistakes being made ahead of him in the draft.
Absolutely, but that's confidence for you, I think.
As I was chatting with Jimmy in the car on the way down, I think the Jets have done really well with Darnold. I think that's somebody they could easily build that franchise around.
Well wrapped up by Caesars 51, Andrew Thomas.
Ogundana on the carry again. And we mentioned earlier on about Shaquem Griffin and his inspirational story. No doubt some of you who watched the draft will have seen a little bit of video that was put together about his journey and about his struggles with his disability in that left hand. And obviously those who don't know, he had his left hand amputated when he was 4 years old due to some
it's incredible what little dedication and determination will do.
Absolutely.
And he thoroughly deserves to be where he is. I think he'll do well at the Seahawks.
He absolutely does.
As much as I hate to admit it, being a Rams fan, I think he will do well at the Seahawks.
Got to try and make it as the on the special teams. I think is his first challenge. Obviously, just to make the roster. But then from there, I don't know if you saw a little bit further down in the 7th round, the Eagles picked up an Australian rugby league player from the Sydney Rabbitohs, as Brammer looks, and he and
it looks like he's picked, and that will be Hardwick's second pick of the day. Burton just batting that ball forward, he couldn't quite get hands on.
And to be honest though, that was a laser from Brammer. That did ask a lot of Burton, and Hardwick comes up with his second pick of the afternoon.
Yeah, Hardwick really stepping up in this second half. He was right on that ball.
So yeah, as I was saying, I think the name was for the Eagles. The Eagles pick. I'm just trying to Jordan Mailata, I believe the gentleman was from. There we go. From the Sydney Rabbitohs, 6'7", nearly 6'8",
and that's a connection there to Johns.
Johns picks up close to 8 yards. Yeah. So this Jordan Malatai is a 6'7", 6'8". Rugby league star, 20-year-old, drafted by the Eagles, 346 pounds, but if you've seen the highlights of him running through defenders in his Australian rugby league for the Rabbitohs, he's just an absolute monster. Now he's going, and it's a sack by number 95.
Yeah, it looked like Reese was the man with the sack there.
So Rob Reese just in this period, 1 sack, 1 for fumble recovery, and it looks like here nobody just swooped round that left guard rather. No issues at all. Yeah, so this Jordan Malatai has gone in as a tackle, although I know watching the draft myself last night, Mike Mayock was saying, tackle, you look more like a tight end of that sort of size and speed, so it'll be interesting to see how he develops. You might remember, those who have been involved in the NFL for a while may remember Jared Hayne, who followed a similar path. He was trying to be a running back, punt return specialist for the 49ers a couple of years back, and never really got to grips with the game and was released, went back to Australia as Winning puts the ball up and he's got a man over the middle, and it's Danny Johns, and Johns crosses midfield after picking up 50 yards.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful thrown ball that time, bang on target. Johns plenty of lead for him to run straight in on stride, and there you go.
Best pass player of the afternoon, best offensive player of the afternoon by a long way for Nottingham. Johns does really well, chased down by Alex James again with the tackle, the touchdown saving tackle. So glimpses of what Danny and this offense may be capable of. 70 yards receiving now for Johns after that pickup. Denning again going back to the air, pressured, and that's overthrown. Intended receiver that time, Chris Peacock. Peacock came in and Denning went out.
See if he can connect on this next pass.
So Simon Denning now up to 150 yards through the air. 2 interceptions. But compared to Asher's paltry 25-30 yard outing in the first half, 3 picks by the Caesars quarterbacks thrown in total. 2nd and 10 right in front of where we are, inside Falcons territory. Denning drops back again. Lofts the ball. Oh my goodness me.
That has gone to...
That's a lovely step, and that lovely step by Alex James could be taking him all the way. He's chased down and he's caught, but he's not caught before he gets into the end zone for a score. There is a flag on the play.
I think, but I don't know if Frederick's just got a hand there, the edge rusher for the Falcons, or whether it was just a pull ball. Just see.
No, I don't. Oh, how difficult to tell.
May have just clipped that, but certainly a lot of pressure there on Simon Denning.
Lovely step. Didn't see anything obvious, but obviously this is coming back because the Falcons are coming back to where the interception took place. But didn't see anything obvious, but once again, what appears to be a Caesars drive that could be going somewhere is quickly stamped out. And Alex James with his 2nd interception of the afternoon.
Inconsistency is the word that springs to mind.
Absolutely.
Have a lovely thrown.
During the run back, illegal block in the back, number 90 on the returning team. Okay, but the first down after the enforcement.
And that's a shame, because had that one have gone in, that would have gone over the 35-point barrier and we could have sped this game up a bit.
Wow. Somebody's keen to get home.
I'm absolutely freezing. I'm not going to lie to you. I can see icicles hanging off Alex's, our cameraman's, nose. I can see Sean struggling to move his elbows. They've locked into position. Although he is gesticulating quite hard at the Bafa assessor.
I'm not sure what that word means.
Gesticulating?
Yeah.
Okay, well, look it up as the Falcons go back to work on offense. New running back in the fray. I think that might be Patterson, actually. So Patterson back on. 3rd carry for Patterson. Pick-up of 1. Maybe time to start thinking about future fixtures.
Got number 9, Adam Edwards in the backfield as well, alongside Patterson.
So for 2nd and 9, Brammer looks and flips the ball out to Ross Wilson for his first reception of the afternoon, and Ross Wilson picks up 14 yards and another Leicester first down.
Yeah, manages to step past one Caesars defender and take it upfield.
Spreading the ball around, Brammer, to different receivers, Lambert and Wilson, and obviously Gabidon and Burton and Alex Priest. Plenty of options for the Falcons quarterback as Patterson gets the ball again but doesn't go anywhere this time.
And it's nice to see that he is spreading the ball around and he's got confidence in all of those receivers to make a grab.
Blitz full-time winners over the Warriors in the under-19 22-0. The Bury Saints Farnham Knights score is final at 26-16 to Farnham. Edinburgh have extended their lead over Sheffield by a score of 23-10 in the 3rd quarter. The Olympians and the Aztecs now 20-7 ahead of the Olympians in the 3rd quarter. We know about this one here, 32-3. Brammer again swings the ball out to the left. It's that same man again. It's Ross Wilson for his 2nd reception. But unfortunately, that's going to be a loss. In the SFC 1 in the East, the Wembley Stallions beating the London Hornets 11-0 in the 3rd quarter. Cambridgeshire Cats have beaten the East Kent Mavericks 22-7. And looking further down, I told you about the European game yesterday, the Copenhagen Towers humbling the Tamworth Phoenix, our British champions, by a score of 50 points to 7. Brammer and the Falcons offense on 3rd and 10. Brammer drops back, swings it out again this way, and this time it's Diwan, the returner, and Diwan makes a nice step, makes a couple of people miss, and he picks up a first down and gets down close to the 18-yard line.
Yeah, he does very, very well there. It actually looked like he was going to get taken down for a 5-yard loss, but manages to put on a few show moves and gets upfield.
That's 20 yards on the pickup as well, so good work from Diwan. He runs back to the huddle. First down once again, Leicester. So obviously thoughts will begin to turn to the next fixtures for these teams as Brammer drops back with an age of and completely underthrows that one.
Yeah, not the nicest passes thrown today, but still had plenty of time in that pocket.
Yes, the way he drops back, he looks like almost the player to stop the way he dropped the ball there, and then, yeah,
very, very casual in that pocket.
Absolutely. Second down, Leicester. Second down, Leicester. 18-yard line, 32-3. Brammer drops back. Gums doesn't even bother moving. And this time Hardwick
absolutely lays the boom.
Yeah, see, he lets Ross Wilson know that he's here.
And Caesars very much have picked up on that play. It's the 3rd, 4th time they've run that on this drive now.
A full-time result in the Prem. Oh dear, Rob. A full-time result in the Prem. Edinburgh have taken the Sheffield Giants down 30 points to 10. That's a full-timer. Yorkshire Rams beaten, we already told you about the Glasgow Tigers, 10-0. Vikings beating the Senators 20-19. We know about the Shropshire Sandwell game. Sandwell running out 2019 winners. As Brammer with an age again, and that is almost intercepted, almost caught, but that will bring up 4th down.
That looks like it may be a 2-minute warning.
Okay, that's 2 minutes to play in the game. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
So I've already said this Leicester game is their last one for a 3-week break. As far as the Falcons are concerned, they travel to the Coventry Jets next weekend.
The Caesars.
Pardon?
You said the
Did
Falcons.
I say the Falcons? I apologise. Sorry, yes, the Falcons on a 3-game break after this one. The Caesars travel to the Coventry Jets next weekend, before they then welcome the Coventry Jets back a fortnight after that to Harvey Haddon, and that is incomplete. Good coverage again by Rob Hardwick, and the 3rd turnover on downs by the Leicester Falcons.
Hardwick really has been a star player for this defence during this second half.
So it seems appropriate at this point to tell you a little bit about EHL commercial law. Whether it's from selling or buying a business, negotiating a commercial lease, advising on intellectual property rights, or resolving a commercial dispute, at EHL Commercial they can assist your every need. As a fully fledged commercial practice, EHL offer a full wealth of commercial services including share and asset acquisition, commercial property sales and purchase, and advisory and dispute resolution. For more details on EHL, visit ehlcommercial.co.uk. That's ehlcommercial.co.uk. And here comes Denning then on the next possession as he completes a pass out to the sideline, and he finds Chris Peacock for his first reception of the afternoon.
I mean, Caesars can, they're obviously not going to win this game now. We've got under 2 minutes left, but I think they can take away from the second half. The offense and the defense have both looked far, far better. I think the score leading into the half was 26-0. The defense have allowed only 6 points.
Ordinarily in a game like that as well, 26-0 at half time, ordinarily you would suggest that a team would take the foot off the gas a little bit, but in this situation, knowing the Leicester-Nottingham rivalry, and as you said, knowing the fact that Leicester would want to pile up the points, I think that does point to the fact that Nottingham have tightened up in the second half.
Yes, absolutely, and you've seen that Falcons have kept their starting running backs and starting quarterbacks in, certainly throughout the full third quarter, and Caesar's defence tightened up for sure. Rob Hardwick getting 2 interceptions, but really, the offence moving the football will be the biggest takeaway, I think, for the Caesars.
MVP time then. If we're looking at MVPs, obviously we're going to pick the Falcons with the score as it is and the notable performances that we've had. But if we're looking for MVPs,
I think it's got to, although he's not scored a touchdown, I think really it's got to go to Gums.
So Gums
Gavidon would be a shout, but you are the decider.
Gums has 10 carries for just over 100 yards. Gavidon, 1 rush for 25 yards. 8 receptions totaling around the 60-yard mark and a score. Lots of first downs moving the chain as Denning drops
that
back.
is another pick.
Number 12 for Leicester, Pete Sandham, and Pete Sandham returns this one for 6 more for the Falcons. Denning's 4th pick of the half.
Inconsistent.
I will be in touch. So disappointing really for Denning when he's shown promise there. But it does again, that ball, it was under pressure and he threw it behind Charlie Patterson. And Sandham is the eager recipient of that pick 6, which puts the icing on the cake for Leicester. Brammer's still in at quarterback, so they'll be trying to get that 40-point mark up on the board. Yeah, so Joe Brammer, looking at Joe Brammer's stats. $18 of 22. Yeah, 18 of 22 is not looking bad, is it? 18 of 22, well over 150 yards. 3 TDs, we make it here. He's made some really clinical throws.
I think it's 2. I think it's
2 TDs. I think you're right. As Brammer this time is pressured by that front of Matthews, Watkins. But nevertheless, with that pick 6, Leicester extend their lead to a score of 38-3. So good pressure there. Good to see the Caesars playing all the way to the end and realising that they're not wanting that 40 points to come up on the board.
See if Caesars can do anything on their final series. There won't be long left at all. Of course, with that 35-point deficit, we'll now start the rolling clock, although for probably the best part of a minute.
So sum up this one then, George. Obviously the scoreline I think is pretty reflective of what we're seeing. Like you said, the Caesars I think have been a bit more competitive second half, but sum up your thoughts moving forward with both these squads.
Falcons, I think, yeah, this is exactly what we'd predict. If not, you know, maybe a few more scores. I hate to say it, they've had 2 fourth and outs in the Caesars. Three fourth and outs, yeah. Inside the Caesars 10. I think Falcons, as I said before, I don't see why they can't go undefeated from what we've seen, and every week on week this offense is going to get better, click, and they're going to keep moving forward. Caesars, the offense has moved the ball today, so they'll be happy with that. Defense has been much tougher in the second half, and the game's been more competitive, but they really need to step up and find something now. We've got 8 games left.
I thought we were going to get a moment of big man with football there as David Thomas dropped on that squib kick, but no, he failed to take it cleanly first time and ended up just having to drop on it.
That looks like the game.
And indeed it is. So, from this blustery April afternoon here in Leicester, we have a full-time score of the Leicester Falcons 38 and the Nottingham Caesars 3. We'll drop to commercial and we'll be back with you to finish off this afternoon's broadcast. We'll see you in a minute.
Right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became loud as the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strolled without a care, cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get there with a smile on my face. Yeah, so lift me up, I'm moving on, singing and dancing while I play my song. Yeah, I'm having a good time, keeping it going. Come on, clap your hands and won't you sing along, and I'll take it up high.
Welcome back to an extremely blustery Hinckley Road Stadium. You're doing very well still in that gear. I'm unfortunately reverted to my hoodie, and anyway, 38-3.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Cold.
We are going to try and keep this as brief as we can, purely because of the fact that it is so blustery here, and we're trying to get off as soon as we can. But hopefully we'll get a chat with Coach Noel Cassar before we leave. Obviously, it's difficult to say. Pick out some things that the Caesars can actually build on moving forward.
Rob Hardwick. He stepped up. He's an experienced guy. I think it's his ninth season with the club. Stepped up when they needed him to. 2 interceptions, arguably a fumble recovery, although it was overturned. He had a great game in that second half, or certainly a great second half. But there's things they've got to work on. Simon Denning moving the ball is an inconsistency, really. I think my own view is they need to pick a quarterback and stick with it.
Sure. And from that perspective, you say about Simon's inconsistencies, if you compare the two today, and we're struggling to actually talk without shivering.
I am shaking like crazy.
If you compare the two, who would you slot in there for that start of that next game?
It's difficult to say, but if I'm just choosing, I mean, they've got 6 quarterbacks on their roster, I'm always going to be a favourite to Tom Henley, who is my junior quarterback from last year. But
sure.
Out of the two, I would go with Simon just because they get the ball moving.
And we'll find out this shortly, hopefully. But from Coach Cassar's point of view,
yep.
Are you happier this week than you were last week with the victory, even though the margin is pretty similar?
I think so. Coach Cassar last week he's always happier with a close victory than a big victory. He was very happy with the Sandwell score. But I think he'll be happy with how they performed.
The one thing he did say to us was obviously about the fact that he wanted the discipline to improve. Fortunately, I don't think that was the case today. I think there were numerous penalties on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think it improved, just not a lot. And that's going to be a worry, particularly the likes of Sandwell and now Shropshire being the real dark horse. That could be the difference between a win and a loss.
So with the 3-week break now, the 3-week break that the Falcons have got, you being a head coach and you being sort of having a bit of a insight into that, what do we do? Do the players come back? Is there a particular thing for them to work on, or is it that discipline thing that's the thing that's stopping the Falcons from being that real dominant force?
Discipline's the key one. Like Coach Cassar said at the start, they're missing a few key guys. Taylor Brown wasn't out there today. Kyron Watt's still out injured. There's a couple guys there that aren't there, and if they're clicking like this with arguably second-string players, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. I say we're filling a little bit in the hope that Coach Cassar is going to come over to us. Obviously, from our perspective, from an onside perspective, we've got lots coming up over this season. Not only as I mentioned in commentary, we're covering all the home games for the Leicester Falcons here. We'll also be covering the home games for the Nottingham Caesars as well. And actually, we'll show you a little bit later, but those of you who watched the Copenhagen Tamworth game yesterday, we can announce that we will be covering the Tamworth home games when the European teams come over to Tamworth in June. Later this month, in May and June, in fact, that is. So we'll be out there in Tamworth covering those games.
I hope it's warm, man.
Oh, it's got to be warmer. Surely got to be warmer.
I hope it's warm in that part of the world.
So, Britball, the future of Britball in this country, looking rosy?
I would like to think so. We see teams develop and grow. I'm a little bit disappointed, really, to see Tamworth as to go 50-7. Having said that, in other news, European, the Birmingham Lions women went
Absolutely.
out and won their European club championship.
Absolutely.
Playing for the first time 11-a-side football.
Sure.
And I mean, the women's game has stepped up tremendously, and I know they've got the Diamond Series coming up, and I'll certainly have my eyes on that. It's a great advocate of the women's game here, and from that point of view, I think that's great to see. The men's and the juniors now. There's a GB junior squad again, so we'll see how that progresses over the next couple of years or so. But I think the likes of what Tamworth have done here in terms of the off-field stuff, I think it's a real building block, and I hope other clubs take a real look at what they've done to see how they can progress their clubs, build a stronger club foundation. Whether the play improves with that, don't think it makes any odds. I think first and foremost you have to build a strong club.
Sure.
In terms of the finances and what you've got available to you.
And we didn't really touch on this today, but from your perspective, how's the preparations gone for the Nottingham Caesars under-19 this year?
It's difficult for us. It's a rookie team, rookie offence, virtually rookie offence. Defence is pretty darn solid, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
Great. Well, I'm hoping we might be able to grab Coach Cassar.
He just shouts crossfields a lot.
Yeah, well, he walked behind us a minute ago, but gave a thumbs up to the camera, and now he's walked off again.
Oh, maybe he doesn't want to talk to us.
Well, he's going to have to hurry if he wants to, because we're not going to be here much longer. Obviously Tom Handley was your quarterback last year. Who have you got to plug that gap this time?
So this year I've got last year's receiver Alex Stocks has stepped up.
And he made a real impact in that ball game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's a real athlete, and hopefully he can bring something good to the quarterback position. Completely different style player, but we have to utilise him to the best of our ability.
And it based around defence this year as a starting point, or
defence has always been my starting point. I've always wanted a solid defence, so we'll go from there.
Coach, we've been waiting for you. We're shivering our. How you doing? How you doing?
All right.
Pleased with that?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, pleased.
We mentioned in commentary.
We second half we tried some new plays that we haven't tried before. We won the game by half time.
Yeah.
So really, we just tried to put the rookies in. You can see they're doing crossfields now due to the penalties.
Well, this is what we're going to ask you about.
Yeah, that's what it is, due to penalties. Yeah, I'm pleased. Defence played well again. I thought even with the rookies in there, everybody got a game again, which is hard to do.
Sure.
And it's cold. It's cold for the players, and it's cold for you lot as well. I don't think online you can see how cold it is.
No,
no. This is not summer football.
Not even remotely.
I thought I'd done all the cold and left Derby, but this is ridiculous.
So you've got 3 weeks off now. What's the plan for this 3 weeks?
So Thursday no training, and then we're back Thursday, Sunday game against Shropshire away.
Okay.
That's the plan. We've got a lot of injuries as well, especially with the experienced players.
Yeah, sure.
Hopefully they'll come back fit and ready to go again.
You hear have you aware of the score this afternoon?
It was 26, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think 2013.
2013.
Yeah, they ended up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I expected that to be fair.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Shropshire, they haven't played one of the big two teams.
No.
It should be a good game. I mean, they've got us on film now.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll get their film.
Do you anticipate this being a 2-horse race then, a Leicester Sandwell 2-horse race?
Well, it looks like that until you see every team. You don't know. I mean, Doncaster's only played one game. You don't know what they're going to be like, and they lost to Shropshire by a heavy score.
Yeah.
But I can see it being just a two-team race.
Right.
Really.
What pleased you today?
I think I'm a special teams guy.
Okay.
So I think Akil's return pleased me to make 50 yards for a rookie.
Sure.
Is really, really good. We don't do any kick returns.
Okay.
To be honest with you, but that pleased me.
And that's the one thing. No, I said one thing.
And I think
and then one thing other than the penalties that you're concerned about.
That I'm concerned about.
Or that you think requires work.
The deep pass.
Okay.
That caught us twice. To be fair. You know what I mean? I think that's what concerned me. But what I think we did really well was the good swing, the swing pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we practiced a lot. We've no chance to use it. So second half, said that's all we're doing.
Yeah.
We've got to keep doing it until we get it right, and every player's got to do it.
Fair enough.
So I'm not disrespecting Caesars at all.
No.
But we did try a second half was more like a training session. If I'm being honest, we did try new plays. Because it's like doing it in training, we've got to do it against the opposition.
Absolutely.
I mean, to be fair to the defence on Nottingham side, they hit hard.
Yeah.
Which is what I like. I like a defence like that. It hits a bit of aggressive.
Well, as you said, the game was more or less put away at half time.
It was,
and we were said in commentary, I mean, the Caesars defensively in the second half seemed to be a bit more effective than they were in the first half.
Yeah.
Well, that might be a combination, like you said, of
That's
you trying new things.
I think the keyed out the chicken man. I think the chicken man got keyed out.
I was about to ask.
I think they knew which way he was going to go and keyed him. 22 was always on him. 24 played well, I thought.
Yeah.
So
you're safe for chicken today then?
I'm safe. Thank God for that. It's cost me a fortune. How much barking buckets up? That's what he eats. See the size of him. He's not going to have a 329 meal, is he?
He's not, is
little lunch.
He's not.
He's going to have a family bargain bucket.
Right, well, Coach, thank you ever so much for hosting us again.
It's been great.
It's brilliant.
Been enjoyable,
and we will see you down the line. I'm going to go and get a 3-bar eater or something.
Yeah.
But thank you ever so much, and we'll see you down the line. Good luck with your preparations. All right. Coach Cassar there, as buoyant as ever, and I think, like we mentioned, the one thing he's disappointed with is the indiscipline, which is apparently is why they're.
Do you know what? I'm so tempted to join in with those crossfields.
Just to warm up.
Just to get some heat in my body.
So as I was saying, before we wrap up from here, just to remind you that the next upcoming game for Onside Production, we will be at Varsity. We mentioned it in commentary. That's Wednesday the 9th of May. It's an evening game. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. And that's the University of Nottingham students taking on the Nottingham Trent University students.
Fourth time this year, which is always it's a ding-dong battle, isn't it? Absolutely.
We've then got coming up in May and June, we have, as I mentioned, the Euros, where we will be out in Tamworth, streaming their two fixtures, their home fixtures, and hopefully they will fare a little better than they did yesterday out in Copenhagen. There will be 6 p.m. kickoffs, and they are Saturday games, so keep an eye out for those. And then in the not too distant future, we'll be back with the Leicester home games and the Nottingham home games for this NFC 1 South Division. So lots coming up in American football in this country, lots coming up for Onside Productions. We're going to go get warm. Thank you to George.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the crew, to Steve, to Tom, to Alex, to Sean, and to Jimmy for braving the elements.
Nathan, you always forget Nathan.
I forget Nathan. There's Nathan. Sorry, Nathan. My mind is frozen as well as my mouth. Anyway, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon in what has been a dominant performance by the Leicester Falcons, who have stamped their authority well and truly on this NFC 1 South Division. So until next time, it's goodbye from George.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. See you next time.